Young Junk!
So what else is going on, Lynn? We have...
Wait.
What's up, indeed?
Doing it live.
Professional. What's up to all our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the mother-loving geek nation? You're currently tuning into the 25th anniversary Cult Pop podcast, episode 74, The Ghostly Annoyance, a show where we talk about movies and TV and comics, Sith apprentices, and all the other things that scratch your nerdy little itches. We're coming to you live from the Young Junk HQ, a Bomb Ash podcast production space here in Philadelphia. Puh. I'm your dark side curious host, JD. Nailed it.
Thank you.
Perfect. I'm your dark side curious host, JD of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex, a rad-ass comic shop at 4327 Main Street, Philadelphia. Come by my shit. With me tonight to talk about some stuff is Brian.
Hi.
And Noel.
Hello.
And Alice.
Me. Hi.
Also in the booth is our trusty producer, Dylan. Remember, if anything goes right or wrong, Dylan did it.
You know, it is against human behavior, like just normal human behavior. If anything goes right, to say anything.
Mm-hmm. That's
Like,
true.
No one gives compliments or like, "Hey, that turned out really well." It's only ever noticed when it's bad.
That was a
Dylan.
good point, Noel.
Damn.
Yeah.
Ah.
That's
Dylan,
disingenuous
you
because I
smell great.
just said it.
I smell great.
You smell great, buddy.
But
From here, you have a stench.
really? Or is this a bit?
It's a bit. But before we jump into the show, we want to shout out to the Facebook group Omnibuds Cafe, a community obsessed with graphic novels, comic books, and manga. We're lucky enough to be their YouTuber of the month. Is it YouTubers?
Yes.
I mean,
YouTube?
the channel is a YouTube channel, a YouTuber, or are we
I don't
multiple
know.
YouTubers?
Four
Organization-
people
You guys
make
all
one
have-
Should
YouTuber.
organizations be treated as individuals? No. I don't
According to the
think so.
government, yes.
They're not always right.
We are
Tax-wise.
4/4 of the same person. And happily welcome any new friends. Hopefully you're here joining us. Please feel free to comment, like, subscribe. Noel's got something to say. I see
Already on the
fingers
Facebook
up.
page, there's a couple of people that. So I posted on the Facebook page that we're going live. So please join us. Already, there's been a comment about what's to discuss. The movie sucks. Come be a hater in the chat.
Yeah.
Join us live.
Yeah.
It's fine. We're gonna love it.
Hate me specifically. I've got a kink.
You have a
Also, you can also email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com. Speaking of which, we got letters.
Oh, we got letters.
We got lots and lots and lots and lots of letters.
Brian, you didn't sing.
I never have.
He never does.
I know. I'm just calling
But
him out.
sometimes
so just
afterwards I
noticed it.
say letters.
I thought you were going to say Young Junk again.
Young
I
Junk,
am
you're
going
right.
to read it now. It's going to be great. Hello, crew. Regarding streaming viewer habits. All right, so it's a bit of a lengthy one. I'm going to zip through it. My life is stabilized and my employment consists of being isolated while listening to audiobooks and podcasts for 10 hours a day. It's amazing. Anyway, I spent the last couple of weeks getting caught up on the last
Weird,
couple of
that's in there.
years of, she knew.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Perfectly timed. The last couple of years of your back catalog, the Cult Pop back catalog, and felt compelled to respond regarding streamer viewing habits. My autistic ass couldn't let it go. I apologize in advance for the length. That's what he said. Stream viewing. I've been burned so many times in my life with shows ending on a cliffhanger or shitting the bed with their finale that I usually don't bother watching anything anymore until they completed their run.
Yeah.
This ties into ... Spoilers. I very rarely care anymore. This apathy arose from feeling compelled to vet a movie or TV show with trusted sources to determine whether or not something is even worth my time. It's really great except for the end, quote unquote. Then no. Quote, you have to slog through the first season before it gets good. Fuck off with that nonsense.
Agreed.
Life and time is short, and the mountain of great content to watch is beyond enormous. Why waste my time? Despite this, I am capable of distinguishing between subjective and objective assessments.
I love
But-
you, Pink.
Pink's fantastic. But if a movie has objective problems out of the gate, pacing issues, logic problems, messy script, terrible effects, I'm just not going to bother subjecting myself to it. Yes, there are objectively terrible movies that I subjectively love. Argento's Demons, as an example.
That's a good one.
Just watched it a couple weeks ago. But why would I give myself yet another sensory overload headache watching whatever Zack Snyder has most recently shit out? Stream viewing with a partner. We have mutual respect. Both phones are down at all times, and we watch together 90% of the time on things we've both agreed to try or stick with. The other 10% of the time, it's clearly communicated in advance that half watching or tuning out is fine. He doesn't care when I'm watching old Moonlighting reruns, and I don't care when he's watching old X-Men reruns in prep for 97. It's just clear communication and respect. That's awesome. Your review of Fallout is the only thing I skipped. I'm a hardcore fan of the games, and that show gets to cut to the front of the line on my watch list. I'm actually avoiding spoilers on that one. I've missed you all. Super glad you're doing well. Pink.
I love you, Pink.
Thank you, Pink.
You're fantastic,
Excellent.
Pink. What an email.
I completely agree. Even before streaming, when it was just like we had to purchase back in the day.
Why'd you look at me?
When
7 years ago.
anybody that would have been next to me.
I know.
We had there was no syndication, there was no streaming. When I was watching Buffy years after it was on TV, I had to purchase the $70 DVD sets.
Oh, did you?
They were thick, too.
Yeah, they were thick. But there was no like where was I even going with this? Just like binging was a thing, and I had to invest in what I wanted to watch or catch up on, record on TV and stuff. So when somebody comes at me with it gets really good after like 3 seasons and like no, I'm not going to invest money, time, or effort to try and track it down, get to it, find it. Like what it always sounded to me was that somebody was like, it was Stockholm syndrome. This show beat me down for 3 seasons. Now I think it's amazing. That's what it always sounded like.
What I think
right?
it is there are some things that are the kind of thing that you're into, and so you're like, I'm into this enough to keep watching it, right? And then in season 3, oh my God, it's mind-blowing. And if you could get to that point, your mind would be blown too. And I really want you to get to that point. But if it's not the kind of show that you're willing to hang out with when it's all right, then it's not a good reason to be like, 3 seasons is too much. 2 episodes maybe.
There's always exceptions to the rules. Like, let's say it's a sitcom.
Parks and Rec.
Well, I was gonna say Schitt's Creek. A lot of people have told me that Schitt's Creek it took me like 3 episodes or 4 episodes to get into it. One, fair. We were cracking up from jump.
So was I,
But
It took me one episode.
I love Catherine O'Hara.
but it's also just a sitcom, so that's 20-minute increments
Right.
to invest in versus like 3 65-minute episodes of a streaming show that still hasn't hooked me yet. I'm like, no.
I'm making a decision right now.
Good.
Because everyone has been telling me how good Veep is. I love Julia Louis-Dreyfus to high heaven.
And Tony Hale is also
Tony
in that.
Hale?
Yes, and that girl from the show in the 90s. What was her name?
With the bees.
That was a movie,
Can't
but
see
yes, that's
without
the
his
girl.
Glasses. He needs his glasses.
Anna Klumsky.
Anna Klumsky.
The girl with the bees.
The girl with the
She had those bees.
So
They don't allow you to have that as
remember when
part of
she
that movie.
murdered Macaulay Culkin with bees?
Yeah.
Awesome.
He died of a crush, right?
Yeah.
Like he went to go get her something for her.
Was that what happened?
And then
Yeah, I do kind of remember
she
that.
lost something in the woods. He went to go get it for her, and then got killed by bees.
was
Like
really
He
sad.
murdered that boy.
And they didn't even give him his glasses.
Murder.
Yeah. So
without his
anywho,
glasses.
I'm watching
you can't
Veep,
walk through the
and
pearly
I'm like,
gates without seeing.
Yeah.
He's just in the
Because heaven's not that great, according to this movie.
He's literally walking around in limbo, unable to see how to pass on.
3 episodes. And I'm trying to decide if it's worth me sticking with.
Yeah.
So far, the 3 episodes have been fine. I'm only there for Julie Louis-Dreyfus. And but everyone tells, it's won like fucking all the awards.
But it's a comedy too,
But if
right?
it's not your speed, though, like, so Armando Iannucci's shows, who did The Veep, In the Loop, the assassination of Stalin, I think. And anyway, the style of the shows is super fast, super vulgar, super specific. And if it's not your speed, don't bother. Like if it's not something that interests you, don't bother. Like it usually takes, and it's also usually about intricate policies and politics.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, like
Policy.
It's like a nastier Aaron Sorkin vibe.
interesting. That
Absolutely
was
what
Like
it
a
is.
funnier,
It's a nastier
more
Sorkin.
punchlines. Yeah.
Yeah, with a lot of F-bombs.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm enjoying it, but I'm
Brian's
still
in because of the F-bombs.
am I gonna stick with it?
Hard to find a show with an F-bomb in it these days.
I've watched all of Veep. I think In the Loop is better because there's a Malcolm character.
That's the guy who showed me the YouTube of,
Yeah,
like the super.
if anybody's ever seen Doctor Who, Peter Capaldi, before Doctor Who, he was in a show called In the Loop. No, sorry, In the Loop was the movie. Thick of It. He is a political fixer. And he is the most foul-mouthed, like poetic vulgarity.
yeah.
and he's so good at it, and it's the most enjoyable thing to watch.
Now, as Pink mentioned earlier, what her example was, if somebody says the show is great but doesn't end well, she's out. And that, for me,
I think that's
is
fair.
even, like if somebody's like, you got to give it a little bit, but you'd love it.
Yeah.
I'd be inclined.
Is there do you have a good example of that? Because
Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah, that's a good example.
Thank you. Most of the time, too, it's usually a super subjective.
Isn't it?
The ending sucked.
Yeah.
I stopped, Game of
every
Thrones
other
used to be my favorite. I stopped recommending it to people because it's just.
I mean, and a lot of people, now I was cool with the ending of Lost, but also there was a lot of stuff about the ending of Lost that I was like, we didn't really get to a lot of the stuff I was interested in, you know? And or also the ends on a cliffhanger and doesn't
continue.
Doesn't keep going.
Well, with Lost, it was the friends we made along the way,
I was friends
and
with
then
those guys.
crossed over with
Yeah.
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
smoke monsters be damned.
Yeah, they were kind of, right? I
Yeah,
forget how
it
that
was
goes.
like heaven and hell kind of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the island
They didn't
was
really
like
get into it
the
too much.
axis of, well, we got as many answers as
The
possible.
statue and what
How
have
many
you.
seasons of Lost are there?
6.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah, 6
man.
seasons.
Okay, so
I was surprised.
I felt like it was going
more.
on half of my life.
so they wanted to end it
I'm only
at
12 though, so
they wanted to end
true.
it at like 4, but
Yeah.
ABC said no, we want more.
Yeah.
So seasons 5 and 6 were only like 15 episodes long versus the
Right.
normal 22 or 24 that network television used to be.
now, I'm sorry.
so they were
getting into weeds
truncated.
here.
No,
This is the
these are
fun
great
part.
weeds. Let's
Yeah.
The season 4 where it was supposed to end, was that how it was supposed to end, or did they know they were going to keep going 5 and 6, and so they didn't?
Given what they
bother
have
with-
said,
3 is where it falls apart. So season 1 and 2, it was like towards the hatch and kind of setting up the ordinary world.
Yeah.
Season 3 is when like, oh, we're popular, we have to stretch this out, and then you get all of the weird like tail end of the plane people and
Yeah,
new
tailies,
characters
they
introduced
called
for
them.
a whole season that just kind of like disappear after a
Yeah.
while. Like that's when shit started going off the rails, when they had to like pull it apart and together. 4 and 5 were 4 and 5 are the ones where that in the past, right? That the Dharma Initiative in the past.
Oh yeah.
And then,
right.
and then they were doing flash forwards at that point too, because some people made it off the island and back.
right? Yes.
The very end, though, where you're seeing the flash forwards are not forward or back; it's alternate.
Yes.
That was all planned.
Okay.
Was it? Okay.
That was supposed to be in season 4 to end everything up.
So that this is full circle. Usually, when somebody says something like, but the end sucked," my best example is Lost, because a lot of people I've talked to who said the end sucked for them were expecting something very specific.
Well, sure. They had their theories, and they're like, it didn't
And
turn out this way,
and they sat
Right.
with it for 6 years.
Sure.
Yeah.
But with
That
Lost,
is a thing.
Lost and Battlestar Galactica at around the same time,
Yeah.
both started out. This was an era that Lost may have kind of started, where the mystery show was really big, and it was all about coming up with interesting mysteries.
Yeah.
And on both of those writing teams, somebody has come out later and said, like, we did not know. We had no idea what the plan was for the Cylons.
That's
We didn't know
insane
what
to
that
me.
was. And it's like,
Battlestar is a better example than Lost is.
I actually love the end of
They-
Battlestar.
yeah,
it was all like
Battlestar,
feelings.
yeah. I felt like Battlestar had two stories, the mystical and the hard sci-fi. Hard sci-fi wrapped up great.
Yeah.
Mystical, not as much. There were lingering questions that I was like, you brought it up in this thing. But
Towards the end of season 4, it was just like, yeah, and Bob Dylan songs are here too.
yes, it
Like,
was.
it was so
It was
fucking
like
weird.
that. But the creator of Mr. Robot has a new Battlestar Galactica show coming out that is in that universe, not a reboot.
Nice.
That I assumed was not happening, and I just recently
Did you
read
ever
that
see
it was.
Battlestar, the
No,
most
I
recent?
didn't. I
It's
like Mr.
actually
Robot, though.
It is
really
quite
wonderful
Yeah,
show.
it's really
Yeah.
good.
The
holds up.
cinematography, the like space shots, they like kind of pan and zoom, and
Yeah.
It holds up really well.
It's like a handheld.
It's also
Yeah.
it's also silence.
The
Yeah.
space battles are
Yeah.
like handheld somehow.
You never
That-
see that guy,
Oh,
but he's a
that-
big part of the show. yeah.
That and Firefly have like silence in space and do like
Oh, cool.
Very cool.
rack focus and stuff in space. Like instead of it just being clean special effects.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I love
Yeah.
Firefly. Anywho,
Wait,
Here we go.
sorry. Oh man,
go
I was
ahead.
gonna
What
bring up
is
one other
that?
thing.
Bring
Talking
it.
about people being let down by their own expectations and making that ruin the show for them. Did anybody notice that happen with WandaVision? Because I
Yeah,
saw
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I was that was something that was
Mephisto,
coming out like on a
Mephisto.
weekly basis on Disney Plus, and like I feel like that was not like new, obviously, but streaming services weren't doing that a lot.
It was the
and
first
people
Disney thing,
people
too.
on TikTok were like going insane for it in the beginning with like theories about like House of M stuff coming into play and the X-Men, and then like immediately when it didn't go their way, they're like, this show sucks. And it was like, it didn't though. I really enjoyed it.
I actually I'm still harboring a little bit of disappointment with Boner.
Oh, that sucked. That did suck.
Like
I hated that.
On purpose tease.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it because in sitcom language, that is a very having a guest star of like a certain kind that's recognizable for a certain thing is like super on brand for like 80s, 90s sitcoms. That's how I saw it.
That's
like,
a level of media literacy that I didn't have, but that's, that's great. That's cool. I like
Pink's
that.
on there.
Pink's in the chat.
Hey.
So I feel like there are a lot of people that never actually watched the OG Battlestar. Here's the thing. Star Trek is space with psychic stuff. Star Wars is space with magic stuff. And
Ooh, what's
Battlestar Galactica is space
try to
with
guess.
bureaucracy stuff?
red tape.
Yeah,
Red tape
space
stuff.
Space with paranoia?
what is that? The original Battlestar is space with
Military.
Ooh, where's she going?
Yeah, I never
Yes.
watched the OG Battlestar.
I watched it on Sci-Fi Channel reruns. They used to do every day of the week would be a
Duke
marathon
Starbucks?
of some other thing.
Space with religious
Space
stuff.
and religious stuff.
Apollo died and was resurrected in the OG.
Oh, did that happen in the original? Also, when he had the white costume, that they know what I'm talking about. But I saw it spottily, so I didn't necessally see.
I did not know
all
that.
of it.
That's awesome.
That was the guy who was Richard Hatch, who also was in the
The first,
Yes. Yeah,
yeah,
first
yeah.
winner of
Reboot.
Survivor, Richard Hatch.
the what? Yes,
First winner of Survivor.
Yes.
It had Lucifer, Heaven, God, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, that were
Ooh.
named very similarly to what they would later become called in English.
You know what? That makes me knowing that makes me kind of like the
cool.
Battlestar Galactica remake a little bit more.
Yeah, it wasn't too far afield.
Oh no, not at all. Yeah, it was.
I was
cool.
happy with that ending anyway.
Yeah, I
so,
liked it.
Yeah, it was. Fun.
Yeah.
thought it was
Oh,
like-
I love that show. There was a lot in that original one that was like, well, his name being Apollo, and just the idea that they would reach Earth, and this was in the distant past, and this was this mystical 13th colony, and it could be that their stuff is where our stuff comes from, and was always part of it.
Show now.
Yeah,
So good.
maybe. All right. So,
Battlestar Actual.
next is the part of the show wherein I ask my friends, what you been up to this week? Huh?
What?
Hey, Alice.
Hey.
Hey,
What you been up to this week?
So last week I talked about watching the Bambi the Reckoning trailer and then went down the rabbit hole finding out that it's part of the Pooniverse or the Twisted Childhood Story universe. So
Pooniverse is better.
Pooniverse is better. So I started
That's on
and I
RedTube, right?
watched.
Sorry.
Oh God.
Sorry. No, I'm not. I'm not sorry.
Wait, if
No,
you keep
you're
making
not.
that joke, come up with other
No.
like
No, because RedTube's easy.
red tube, anything tube. There's one. It's like
Anything
Rule
tube.
34, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
there
X
is.
tube, boob tube.
Yeah.
I want to see anything.
Tell
too.
us about it.
anything
Tell us
too.
about the Pooniverse.
So I was on RedTube. No. I watched Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and
All of it.
I just watched the first. Yeah, all of it.
Blood and honey.
Blood and Honey.
All right.
Can you believe it? In the
Yeah.
same place at the
blood.
same time.
in this economy?
Much like
Costa,
Sliders
it's-
movies, it's two parts.
No, Costa,
Blood
no.
and honey. Pooniverse. Oh no.
No, Costa.
Costa, what does Costa say?
I don't want to say it.
Costa asks, is this the Pooh-niverse or Poon-averse? And Robert Monroe Jr. says, what's up, CultPoppers?
I think
Hey,
it's-
Robert.
I think it's got to be Pooniverse because you can more easily put an H into that slang term, right? That's how
Yeah.
I feel about that.
So how did you feel about Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey?
So,
Poon, blood and honey.
story was kind of all over the place at some
Now
point.
you get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking a second, I like it.
You didn't get to know some of the characters very well.
No.
It was all over. It has a 3% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Characters.
And I
What characters?
loved it.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Wait, were there
Awesome.
other 100 Acre Wood residents in
So,
this?
okay, so the beginning starts out, I'm not going to give anything away, but
Thank
the
you.
beginning starts out, yeah, I know, because everybody here is dying. There's a sequel that I really want to
sure.
see.
I read the book, but I wasn't sure if
Yeah.
it follows the same
This
plot
part's a
line.
great deal from Milne's
It
classic.
does, it does. Spoiler alert. No, I hated it because it wasn't like the book.
Yeah.
The beginning beginning when they're like telling the background of Christopher Robin meeting they're like anthropomorphic creatures that like nobody knows how they've come to be, half animal, half humanoid type creatures. They're just chilling in the woods. That starts out as like all animation, and he meets Pooh, he meets Piglet and Rabbit, Owl, and Eeyore. But when all the live action and killing starts happening, it's just Pooh and Piglet.
Okay.
But spoiler alert for Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2 trailer. Okay. Tigger's in that one.
Whoa.
And that was my favorite. Tigger's my favorite. I was a little disappointed he wasn't even in the animation intro on this one.
Yeah.
Oh, there's an animation.
Oh, yeah, sorry. The intro animation is like kind of just like...
That's all the budget.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Wait, speaking of budget, this cost $50K to make. It made $5.2 million.
Yeah. Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Isn't that insane?
It had like 2 or 3 weeks in Fathom events and made money.
It did
Fathom events
so
for
well.
Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey?
So I think the 3% critics, it was the critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. I think audience score was in the 50s.
Oh, that's
I thought it went on. It's only an hour and 24 minutes. It did feel a little long in the middle, but some of the violence was pretty good. I thought for what it was worth.
I mean, that's why you're there, right?
Yeah.
Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2 has a 53% Rotten Tomatoes score.
A big improvement. He also looks way scarier
with
this
an
one.
80% audience score.
Hey, no,
What's up?
what does Rebel Moon 2 have?
Oh, sure.
God.
I think it's at the 50.
Also, I have another. Sorry, now I'm going to bring up random niche media that Dylan's going to love.
15%
there's
Little Vampire.
No, it's not. It's not Little Vampire. Wait, now I need to know what that has on Rotten Tomatoes.
Can we have
a little vampire graphic when Alice joins us.
But whenever Richard E. Grant comes up in a conversation, I got it.
Just a little lip Nicky.
Yeah, just a little lip Nicky. The movie, one movie that I love from my childhood that has a 2% on Rotten Tomatoes, but Baby Geniuses. Has anybody heard of this?
I remember that movie being. Yeah.
I remember it being a movie.
I recently found out it only has a 2% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I was like, wow.
Is that like a live action?
Yeah, it was weird, but I loved it as a kid.
When I was young, it was Look Who's Talking.
Yeah.
Look Who's Talking now.
It was kind of like worse
now.
than
As well.
that.
Baby Geniuses came out
In
when
addition
I was,
to other people talking.
a teenager or like barely an adult
Yeah, I was
managing a movie theater.
in like elementary
That was
school.
when Baby Geniuses came out?
Yeah, I think it was
okay.
like 2001. 2000.
Yeah.
Oh, was it that late?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have a question about, just a posed question for you guys. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2 has a significantly higher audience
Yes.
score, right?
And a better budget.
And, well, that makes sense
Yeah.
too. Do you guys think that sequels to movies tend to have higher audience Rotten Tomato scores because they're the ones that go and see it?
No.
Okay.
No, historically, sequels, there's a precipitous drop in critical acclaim.
Even including audience scores.
Audience scores usually level out.
Okay.
Like it's either way down, it either falls off a cliff, or it usually stays around the same.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, because
what you're saying.
if you think about it,
Yeah,
the audience is usually baked in.
Yeah.
So as long as it's just solid enough of a recreation or continuation of what they enjoyed before, it's fine.
They'll be in. Yeah.
If it seems very rare that it would jump up 30%.
Yeah.
It would be
You could fall. It would be more likely that it falls 40%.
Yeah.
Because nobody new is seeing it, and
Yeah.
some people won't like it that liked the first one.
some people go in with their expectations, like we were just talking
Yeah.
about, and then are disappointed.
That isn't what I thought Pooh would do.
I really want to spoil. Yeah, this isn't what happened in my childhood. But I really want to spoil the first one because the plot for the second one seems so insane, but I don't want to. No,
We can do it off mic.
I wanna watch it.
where did you watch
I'll do it off mic. I'll do it off. Or you're.
Where did you watch it?
I'll
I'll watch it. I'll watch it.
Don't
Shudder?
Don't read. I think you. I rented it on Amazon for like $3.
You paid money.
I paid money for
Good
this.
for you.
$3. They made
Good for you.
$5.2 million.
I'm kind of
I'm
sad
waiting
I didn't
for the
buy
4K.
it.
You could still buy it.
I could still buy it.
All right,
Yeah, I
Noel,
just rented it.
Yeah.
what you been up to this week?
This past week I went to the movie theaters and I saw a film projected in 4K. No, actually, would it be 4K?
Is it 4K? I was
It's
just
4K
wondering.
to movie as long as it's a digital theater and digital projector. It would.
Or is it even more?
It's 4K? I doubt it's 8K because then it would look.
That's what they call
it would
it,
look like
4K.
6.
More K.
They tried that once and it was The Hobbit and everyone
48
freaked
frames.
The fuck
Oh,
out.
and
48
sometimes
frames
people
per second.
were jumping around
and
really
they filmed it
fast.
in 60 frames per second. Like there's no way that it would do that again. Yeah. Anyway,
So
We
what
got
happened?
complaints
so
at the time.
I went to the movies. Yeah, what's wrong with it? It looks so
They're like,
real.
it's fast forwarding. I'm like, this cannot do that. It does not have that capability. But then I saw it and I'm like, I see what you're talking
I
about.
went and saw Boy Kills World. I should have wrote down the director and writer if you want to look up that for me. But it's starring Bill Skarsgård and Jessica Roth. It is a and what's her name? Famke Janssen. And Charlotte Copley. So it's about a deaf mute young boy who
Boy is a mayhem machine who's been training to assassinate the bloodthirsty Hilda
van der Kooi
and avenge his family's murder. Guided by his sister's mischievous spirit, Boy uncovers one stunning revelation after another as he barrels towards Hilda.
So this came in theaters. Great Rotten Tomatoes score. It's awesome. This movie's awesome. So it's incredibly violent. It's incredibly weird. The main character doesn't say anything and reads lips. His internal voice is H. John Benjamin.
Oh my
god! Because when he was young, his favorite video game had like that voice.
Cool.
Doing like a Street Fighter style video game, doing that voice. So his entire internal monologue is H. John Benjamin doing this big voice for everything. Also. This movie on the surface is just violence and insanity and craziness, but it's also incredibly smart and really ironic. Like one of the main character, one of his things is that when he's in training, when he's younger and like a slave and stuff, he has nothing but the dictionary to read. So he reads through the dictionary like 2 or 3 times. So throughout the course of the movie, he is calling out in his head these very excellent dictionary words.
That's cool.
But it's a character that can't communicate. So just the irony of it, of him having the best vocabulary in the entire movie, and he can't, like, it's just in his head.
What is the tone of this movie? Is it fun?
Oh, it's wild. It's funny, but also like
that sounds cool.
It's I would go as far as say it's satire.
Okay.
And then another thing too is like he is pretty good at reading lips, but there's a couple characters where he can't read their lips very well, and that character is speaking what he thinks they're saying.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
I like that.
And there's a couple of really good twists. The action is fantastic. The violence is awesome. There's some cheese grater scenes that were wonderful.
I feel like my cheese grater needs were not met by the Evil Dead.
No,
Oh, wow.
I think I told you after this, Evil Dead Rise crawled so Boy Kills World can run with
the cheese grating
as a weapon. No, this movie was awesome. It made absolutely no money at the box office.
$2 million.
Really sad.
How much did it cost to make?
I don't know, 15, 20. But it was incredibly stylish, really, really fun. Bill Skarsgård is just ripped to shit, and he's incredibly competent action star.
Awesome.
I am so in for him.
As the Crow?
Yeah.
I'm nervous.
Oh, is he?
that's
Oh,
right.
right. I heard he was
He's
the
the new
Crow.
It is.
Do you love
this
that
is
TV
a
show?
really fun, and the movie does a lot of like really fun in camera stuff too. So like there's a training montage of him being a boy and then turning into a man, training over the course of many years. It actually has both actors like picking each other up and then like in camera fun transition
cool.
stuff.
Cool.
Like it's a very fun movie.
Sounds awesome. I can't wait to see it.
Everyone should go see it.
Also, Brett Gelman is in it, I see,
Yes.
who is a fun comedic actor.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Brett Gelman. Yeah, he was in.
Oh, that guy.
He's in a lot of stuff.
Stranger
Yeah.
Things, most
Yeah.
recently, I think.
He's in Love, which I finally got around
That's
to
a great
watching, and it was a
show.
great show.
Right?
Yeah. He's in a lot
What a
of stuff.
weird little show, but I like that a
I
lot.
like it a lot.
Jessica Roth's in it from Happy Death Day.
Yes.
Supposed to be Samara Weaving.
Oh well, it wasn't.
Who's that?
Yeah. You wouldn't know.
Ready or
Okay.
not.
Bunch of cool movies you haven't seen.
Cool.
She's in a lot of horror movies.
She's doing well then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Tell her we said hi.
Is it one of
She was asking about you.
if you at all sound interested, watch a trailer, and that's the movie.
It looks like a bucket
it's
of
very,
fun,
It's
yeah.
very wonderful.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian.
Hey.
What you been up to this week?
Thank you for asking, JT.
You're so welcome.
I was surprised by
my question?
Yes.
I always catch you
Every
off
week.
guard.
I never think you're going to do it again.
Yeah.
Right? Because you've already asked.
There's no reason. Yeah.
I was surprised by a notification on my phone right from Apple Plus TV. They said the Big Door Prize Season 2 is available now.
Yeah.
And then
So
you
it's
made
great.
sure you still had a subscription.
No, I did. Apple has a lot of my
Money.
shows that I enjoy to watch.
A lot of my shows, a lot of my pictures.
Yeah. So they've got some stories that I like. The prestige shows, as we talked about. Like
stories.
Foundation. There's a lot of the prestige stuff.
Way off topic.
Morning
Have
show?
you watched For All Mankind yet?
No.
I feel like that's up your alley, and I was thinking of giving it a shot.
I'm thinking about giving it a shot too, and I put it out there as a thing that Tamara and I might watch together. We have
Waiting until she takes the bait.
done that. And yes, I leave little pictures of it out.
What are these small astronauts doing on our counter? Oh,
I saw her pick one up the other day, but she put it back down.
close. Super close.
Yeah.
Anyway, this show.
So we might. The Big Door Prize. We loved season 1, right? And so I did not. I knew they were doing a season 2. I had no idea that it was about to happen, let alone available later that night. And it is. It's such a fun show. It's got Chris O'Dowd.
I like Chris O'Dowd.
He's great.
Yeah.
He's such an
The
affable
IT crowd.
presence.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of other people that I don't currently remember that like I've seen around.
For anyone that has not heard of the show, a small town is forever changed when a mysterious machine appears, promising to reveal everyone's true potential. Soon, residents start changing jobs, rethinking relationships, and questioning long-held beliefs.
Yes. So it's a very like it's based on a book and it feels it and it's nice. And it's like this morpho machine shows up. It's this magical realism kind of mysterious machine. And you put a quarter in and it gives you this card that has 1 or 2 words on it that is your true potential or your life's potential, right? And it'll say stuff like royalty or superstar or something, right? And so these people it's like the talk of the town. Everyone is either doing it and talking about it or specifically not doing it. Or, you know who it's got? I don't know if you guys watch Black Lightning, but the detective in the first several seasons, and he's great. He's just a really nice actor to watch.
Is that him?
Damon Gupton.
There he is.
Yeah, he's awesome. And it's like a well-lived town where there's stories of these people already in place, and you learn about it in a very just like fun, easy way. Yeah, it's just brilliant. It's a great show, and I was really happy to start season 2. And it was one of those we watched and we're like, how about another episode? Yeah. Is there another episode? And there were 3.
I was wondering
Nice.
how they do their drops.
Yeah, and there's a theremin, guys. There's a theremin.
What does that mean?
Yeah, that's that music making
instrument.
thing that.
It was in Late Night with the Devil.
Oh yeah, that thing.
And it does like ghost noises.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
What's the worst thing that would be on your card?
The worst thing that would be on my card?
Yeah, if you got a card from that machine.
Normal guy.
Is it like
Nazi.
Is anybody, oh my god.
True
Yeah, that would be on your card, JD.
hate
What the-
monger. Yeah.
I was gonna
You're
ask
saying
if,
the
like,
worst
anybody-
thing.
Yeah.
That could be on your
Yeah.
card.
Boring?
No,
Boring.
JD has no.
I was gonna ask if like anybody in the shows that like let down by what
I'm sure.
Yeah.
by what they receive,
Yeah.
Oh,
or if it's
yeah.
always something like better.
One just
It's
says
often-
food poisoning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And they have
God.
to food poison
Shit
someone.
to death.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them are like
Defecation.
some of them are like one of them gets a card and says it's something else, and then later you see what it actually is, and it's like and
Mass murderer.
and yeah, some of them definitely are a little disappointing. Or Chris O'Dowd's card, he's the only one with 2 things, not just 2 words, but it says Whistler teacher, and he is a teacher, and he's just trying to figure out what that means.
Yeah.
Blue
Teaching
dots of-
whistling or whistle while he teaches?
It's like slashed. That's a possibility. Who knows? And
Does he find out by the end of season 1?
Nope.
it's not about that. It's not like the mystery of what Whistler teacher is. Yeah.
The journey
Another
is the
lost.
point.
Yeah. No. But
lost.
he does have a theory, like a pretty compelling theory. By the end of it, or like his mom and dad live in that town.
Mama, Papa.
And and they were married. They were happily married. I forget what the mom says. The dad says like model, and so they split up. But they're very, very happy about it and like still in love basically. And she goes off to travel Europe, and he becomes a model.
Wow.
He is a very handsome, like toned man with gray hair that you've seen around in things. I forget I forget who he is or what else he's been
Just
in.
put that in the search bar.
Very handsome
man with tone
that you've seen around. Yeah, I really want to see the results here. But yeah, that's him, Jim Meskimen. But yeah, I just it feels like reading.
I've seen him from Our Lips Are Sealed
JT.
with Mary Kate and Ashley.
There you go.
Right there.
Yeah.
It's the
Is
first,
he
That's the
handsome?
first thing.
listing.
Do you not find him handsome?
He's handsome enough.
I
JD,
don't
come on.
care. I mean, sure.
Nothing's for everybody.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, it just feels like reading this magical realism book. It's such a pleasant, joyful show with
like
this
it.
like cool vibe and atmosphere. Yeah,
Awesome.
I like
Yeah.
it. JD,
Yes.
moving on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah. What have you been doing this week, you dummy?
I'll tell you what. Rachel Rising is a comic book from Terry Moore. It is 7 trade paperbacks. It is all the trade paperbacks are out of print right now, but you can get it all in an omnibus, like a complete collection.
Hey, I did that.
I have been telling, because I've read half of it. And so that was enough for me to be like, to recommend it to my customers and friends and all this other stuff.
He's been lying
and then
to you. All of you.
eventually I was like, oh, because I started a new Terry Moore. That's what it was. I was like, oh, I haven't read Motor Girl yet. Let me pick that up and start. Holy shit, I never finished Rachel Rising. So I went back and restarted Rachel Rising and blew through the whole thing in like 5 days.
Nice.
And it is awesome. So anybody who doesn't know Terry Moore, he is an independent comic creator who writes, draws, pencils, inks, publishes his own comics. He's a one-man team. And I've been reading him for maybe 25 years. He started off doing Strangers in Paradise. His sci-fi book is called Echo. His horror book is called Rachel Rising. He has another one called Ever. What am I missing? Motor Girl.
Serial.
And there's a couple spin-offs for Rachel Rising, like 5 Years and Serial.
Rachel, 5 years is everyone.
It's like it's a tie-in for all of the characters.
That's Terry Moore Avengers.
Yeah.
They take place in the same universe?
Yes.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. So the story of Rachel Rising is Rachel, the titular Rachel, has been murdered, and she wakes up in a shallow grave, face down. So she doesn't.
Wakes up.
So she doesn't even know
See that coming.
which way is up, which kind of sucks.
Oh,
which is
God.
like a terrible thing to think about, because being buried alive is one of my.
That's my biggest fear.
It's an ick. So
Would not recommend.
yeah. She finally, unearths herself and is alive and tries to figure out who murdered her, why she's not dead, and all the other weird, spooky stuff that's going on in the town. And it goes to places I had no idea it would be heading, and some lovely surprise. But his strength is really in character work. And I just love spending time with his characters, and I'm kind of sad when the stories are over and I have to leave the characters, So he has just been a long time favorite of mine. So I was very happy to finally get around to finishing Rachel Rising.
Did you finish it?
No,
Me neither.
No.
Robert says, I'm a huge Terry Moore fan. I've read all of his work, met him at NYCC a few years ago when he was setting up his booth, and got some books signed.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I had picked up Rachel Rising in a nice hardcover. It's like a full black hardcover with the image is also black, so it's black on black, but it's also kind of shiny. What's that? Spot varnish. Cool. Oh, I love a good spot varnish. And so, yeah, I had him sign it, and it came with like a
Did you have him sign it in a black Sharpie?
Yeah, so I couldn't see it.
Yeah. I can't tell.
But so Robert Monroe, I assume you like
Just take my word for it.
Sign it
after
twice.
Rachel
Take
Rising,
my
you
word
read
for it.
Serial and 5 Years and all that stuff. I'm about to get into those. I haven't read them yet. And yeah, Strangers in Paradise is a wonderful 15-year run, 20-year run of this like
It's like 190-ish.
love triangle between
Francine.
Kachu and Francine and David.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember her real name because Kachu was a nickname. Katina Chuvansky. And her dad used to call her Kachu because she was tiny like a sneeze. And Kachu is in love with her best friend Francine, and Francine kind of loves her back but is afraid of being gay. And then David is in love with Kachu, who is gay. So it's
Wait, are any of them in love with someone who is also in love with them?
eventually.
Oh.
Oh my.
107 issues.
107 issues.
Over from 93 to 2007.
Yeah, and then he came back and did Strangers 25, which was an anniversry series.
Yeah, I think that was only 10.
Yeah, and then he did Parker Girls, which is a tiny. But not only so it's not only this beautiful romance stuff, but it's also all of this intrigue because you find out about Katina's past and what a clandestine group that she used to be part of that used to try to sway politicians.
They don't do that
in certain
anymore?
directions, and not this particular group.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Is it like is there non-real world stuff that happens in Strangers in Paradise?
No.
Okay.
It's all very grounded.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything that happens could happen.
Okay.
Motor Girl? Well, I mean, not
like
in
Strangers.
Strangers. But
Specifically
it's
that.
shared
Yeah.
universe eventually with things that
so
do
it could and
happen.
is in
Yeah.
fact happening. It's just not focused on
Yes.
Strangers in Paradise.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
So highly recommend.
Cool.
I will warn you, because it started off with a 3-issue miniseries that is very broad.
Yeah.
It is very broad comedy. It does not match the vibes of the rest of the series.
Takes like 3 issues to get into, maybe.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, highly recommend
would you
Rachel
recommend it?
Rising. They do, yeah.
Nice.
They actually renumber it. So like volume 1 is issue 1 through 3. Volume 2 is issue number 1 through 13. So like he literally just like redoes it because he was doing serials at the same time with those characters, like newspaper strips
Oh,
with Francine and Kachu.
it was?
Yeah. So there was, I mean, he was doing them for
don't-
himself and then self-publishing them and then the comic at the same time. So that's why it was broadish.
Oh.
And then
it was
he-
very much newspaper strippy, but more violent.
Yeah, I think he kickstarted the old strips again and to republish them.
Oh, okay,
like
cool.
it's like
That's
Strangers
sweet.
2.
Oh, I didn't realize those
Yeah.
were old strips. They're all like chibi versions of the characters. They're
Yeah.
like
The-
Oh, like,
Peanuts
before he had kind of figured what he
It was kind of figuring out what the characters were. And that was first couple of issues was the broad kind of.
I never bothered with
Strippy
those
thing.
because I wasn't interested in that.
Well,
but
it sounds like you still won't be. And
maybe.
wait till volume 2. It just clicks.
Did we do it?
We did that
I think
part.
we did it.
What we've been all up to, huh?
Huh.
All right, so go ahead.
The title, Phantom Menace, Star Wars Episode 1. I think this should be or could be a very tiered conversation.
Okay, lead
Because
us.
there's a lot of things. This is a bigger conversation than just if you liked the movie or not.
Yeah.
Can I ask you how old you were when the movie came out?
6.
You were 6.
Oh, I was
99.
married.
I was 17, I think.
17.
17, 18. Oh yeah, it was between junior and senior year of high
I
school.
was 21.
Do you remember how old you? Around 21 or no? Like
No, I was in high school. What year did it come out?
99.
Then
May 99. So it
This
I had
movie
just
is older than
turned
my sister.
18. Like a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Her sister's 2 years old.
Yeah.
She says that-
My new
she says
baby
that a lot.
sister.
so basically all Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
I had just turned 18. then it
So
came out.
this was the first new Star Wars anything in 30 years. In 1997, the re-releases happened, the special editions. That was the first opportunity to be able to see Star Wars in a movie theater for everyone of our generation.
I had seen it in the theaters.
I'm sorry, I saw. Yeah, you're right. I saw Return of the Jedi when I
saw
was
Return
3.
of, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
I was
In
like,
theaters, yeah.
Yeah, however old I was. But
Yeah, 3
it's
to
like
6.
the first memory
They
of a
did
movie.
a
But-
re-release
really?
of Return of the Jedi a few years ago for one of the anniversaries. Had to
40.
be 40. Yeah. And Kos and I went, and that was like the first time I got to see one of the originals
Yeah.
in theaters, which
Asi-
was super cool.
It was, look, I grew up in a small town in Florida. The re-releases were the first time to be able to see them cognizantly.
Yeah.
Like as not like a
For that
Yeah.
generation,
child.
yeah, for sure.
So they were a big deal. And then from 97 to 99, it was just a slow march to new Star Wars.
Yeah.
97 was the re-releases. It was I looked this all up today. This is a weird rabbit hole. January, February, and March, each one came out with the new special effects that everyone still hates, which is
Yeah.
great. In 98, there was toys released of things we had never seen in Star Wars. Like they released a droid on a scooter.
Yeah. Love that scooter.
That came
want that
out.
scooter.
That came out in like October of 98, before there was a trailer or anything. It didn't even have like the episode 1 branding. I don't even think they had the title yet.
Which is funny because it's I don't know if you know the story of the original toys for Star Wars, but there was such a high demand for them that they put out a box
Oh, yeah.
that said your toys are coming soon. Like people would go and show up to get the box, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then
It would.
there were actually no action figures yet.
And then the trailer.
IOU.
This was before broadband internet and being able to compress and share videos online. So to see the trailer for episode 1, you had to go buy a ticket to go see The Siege with Bruce Willis and Denzel Washington. I think.
Yeah.
This like weird boilerplate martial law type of movie in New York, like a political thriller. People
Not Under Siege.
no.
This is different.
Yes. People were going to the movies and leaving after the trailers.
Really?
Because this was the only Yeah. And like the one poster, the first poster of the shadow of Vader and a little Jake Lloyd.
Still one of my all-time favorite
It's
posters.
good.
That came out and people freaked out over it. Like I stole one from the movie theater that I
Attaboy.
worked in. Sold it for $150.
What?
You're welcome.
To me.
To me.
Yeah. Like
To have
It
a
was a
discussion.
it was pandemonium. And then also too, like the movie came out, leading up to it, the week before, they released all the toys at midnight at Toys R Us.
That's right.
And it was pandemonium.
Forgot about that.
A bunch of toys that characters no one, honestly, some of them were barely in the movie.
Yeah.
Like Newt Gunray
Yep.
and
Without the
Yes.
approval
Yeah.
of the Senate.
Yeah. I learned something interesting.
and
about it. Yeah.
Captain Tanaka.
Yes.
Like, oh, this guy's gonna be cool. He's a pilot. Like he's got 2 lines.
He's a sellout. Captain Tanaka eventually starts to work for the Empire.
What?
We were talking about that last
What?
night.
Yep.
Yep.
In character? Like that character starts to work
No,
for
the
Empire?
actor did it.
Yeah, the
He works
actor.
for the, he went and...
No. I mean,
The actor went
he was
real
not one
right.
actor playing 2 different
No,
characters.
no.
Okay,
It was
right.
Captain Tanaka.
He works for the Empire.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Eventually, he...
What? Ah.
Well, he's really big on rules.
Oh, so that was your
and
first
they bring
sign
order
of a
to
problem.
the empire. They bring order
Right.
to the galaxy.
No
but,
good.
Like I don't like. It's very hard, I think, for old man this generation to understand just how wildly this was ingrained in every single piece of pop culture because there was no social media, there was no TikTok, there was no trending. It was just everywhere.
Well, it was one of the most
Almost
popular movie
organically,
series
right?
of to date at that time, and something that nobody ever really thought was going to be made more of. Right?
Yeah,
It was
we
just
just
like,
figured,
there'll never
oh,
be
wouldn't
one,
that be
2, and
cool
3.
one day? That'll never
Right.
happen.
And then when it was happening, it was big.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
freaked out over every single piece of information that was trickled out, like who was casted and what were they going to be, and Pepsi cans, collected Pepsi cans.
Yeah.
That was the first movie that I went to. So my dad bought tickets. We used to go to the movies a lot, and he bought tickets for us because he was like, this is going to be big, right? And it was the first movie that I ever went to that was in such wide release because it was one of the first really wide release movies. There were like 3 other people in the theater that we were in because everyone could see it whenever they wanted to.
It was
Right,
like
there was
it was
no-
like 3,000 screens, which was like unheard of at the time, and they were doing overnight screenings and stuff.
Yeah,
Oh, were they really?
yeah.
Yeah.
I knew it was a lot of screens. I did not know about
I
the overnight.
miss midnight movies. But yeah.
So do I.
Yeah.
Like it was.
Do it on
It
streaming.
was everywhere.
There was no online ticket purchasing, and there was no assigned seats.
People were waiting in
So
line, sleeping in tents.
We had to.
and then there were only 3 people in the theater.
And the movie theaters, printers and computers did not have bookings for more than 7 days in advance. So we had to go to the theater a week before it came out because that was the earliest you can go to purchase tickets. And God forbid you might have wanted to see it twice. You should buy 2 shows now.
Did you get 2 shows?
I did.
Did you? Yeah.
The first show was at 10 a.m. and the second one was at 4. And we skipped school that day and just like as a group went. And it was it was wonderful. Like it was a great time.
That's cool.
It was better than the movie at the time.
The experience was something.
The experience
Yes.
was
I thought
something-
you were talking about
Yes.
the film.
The
Okay.
Agreed.
experience was something that was
Lead up to.
Yes.
I guess the closest it's since then is probably maybe like Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
Like that, it was literally your grandmother knew that it was happening and was still kind of interested. It wasn't just something that was contained to a small bubble of your nerdiness.
Yeah.
It was everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, the only other thing it reminds me of besides maybe that would be Batman 1989, but that wasn't anticipation so much as
No,
it was
that was-
it
it
blew
came
up
out.
and it was
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah.
But still the same level of it's everywhere, you can't avoid it, and you know it was a phenomenon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was wild. So like, when was the first time you saw it? Because you didn't
I
have that
was-
experience like we did.
No, I was actually JD, Coast, and I were watching it last night, and I was texting my brother, who's 2 years older than me, and I was trying to remember if I saw it in theaters. Like, I was trying to remember if our dad or our mom took us to see it in theaters, because my brother was Darth Maul for Halloween that year. So, like, I know he had to have seen it because he was 8 years old and dressed up as Darth Maul. So I was like, all right, you at least had to have seen it. I don't know if mom and dad took me. Yeah, you made that yourself.
Her brother's a sociopath.
He's a nice man.
Who kills?
He's a nice man. I'm not kidding.
Not for fun, because he's a sociopath. That's fine.
So I was trying to text him, and like he couldn't remember when he first saw it, or if he went for like a friend's birthday or something. I legitimately don't remember the first time I saw it, or if I even went to see it in theaters. I have more vivid memories of seeing Revenge of the Sith later on. Because what year did that come out? I would have been like
2005.
Yes.
Oh, I was 12. So yeah.
99, 202, and 05.
Yeah, I would remember those ones way more. But Darth Maul stuck with me the most as a child because he scared me.
Very
but yeah,
I remember we all were super excited about that.
Yeah,
character.
I remember liking them as
Ahead
a
of
kid
time.
because this was like Star Wars for like
of course,
us.
it's Star
like
Wars.
it was
Yeah,
Star
of
Wars.
course.
Like I also want to preface this with I did grow up watching Star Wars. My parents are both very big Star Wars fans, so we had seen the original trilogy
Yeah.
before. I knew all about it as much as a 6-year-old can before going to see or ever seeing the prequels. I understood that it was like the story of Darth Vader. Like I knew
I keep trying to
because I know I've seen TikToks of kids watching it now from episode 1 on and not knowing that Anakin is gonna become
That's kind of neat.
I think that's awesome.
Vader, and like I've seen their reactions to like their dad like records their reaction to the ending of Revenge of the Sith, and like they freak out.
That's got to be
that's therapy.
Like
That's
you're
so
watching
cool.
this kid, this little. Oh my God! It's never even occurred to me. Like you're watching this little kid pod racing, and then joining the Jedi Order, and then losing all of his limbs and burning on a beach.
Yeah,
After
he
murdering a
painted
shit
an
ton
arm
of
and a
children.
leg.
Oh my
Yeah,
God!
that's true.
What's it say?
My brother Brian got me the shirt.
This
This
suit cost me an arm and a leg.
So I did have that chance with Tamara. She had not seen Star Wars, and she had no idea who Luke Skywalker's father was or anything like that. And so I'm like, we could start with episode 1, but what if she doesn't like it? We'll never keep going.
Which is
and
possible.
also, right. And because we still haven't watched Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
So we watched the first 2. And she liked it, but it was like I had this opportunity for her to have this surprise because I don't remember not knowing that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father. Right?
I just always knew that.
Was aware of that.
Yeah.
When I was those were like the first VHSs my dad bought for the house. So when I was like 3, I would just watch them in and out of order.
Yeah.
Because I had a later bedtime than my siblings
Nice.
who had to get up for school in the morning. So I remember
We
like
didn't go to school.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't have to go to school. I was
did whatever I
was
want.
3. Bitches.
Wait, the older kids who had to go to
They had
school
to go to
had
bed.
an earlier bedtime.
Well, yeah, because
than the
that
3-year-olds?
was like they had to like go to bed
man.
to get ready for stuff. So while they were getting ready, I had like a good half hour that I was allowed to pick what I wanted to
Nice.
watch
All right.
before they,
cool.
shunted me off to bed.
Yeah.
But I would always I would throw in one of the VHSs for Star Wars, and it would be left off wherever I was
cool.
watching again.
That's
So like it was, I don't remember how I experienced them. They were just a big mess of 8 hours of movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Same. And I just feel like I have to tell this cute story I told you last night. So my dad's a lawyer, and when he took the bar exam in the 80s, he took them with number 2 pencils that were Star Wars pencils that my mom had bought him.
That's
Because
awesome.
they're cute little nerds.
So when you guys saw it in theaters, tell me about day 1 impressions and then day 3 impressions.
Do you want to go first?
Yes, I very much. Yes, I do want to. So I liked it when it came out. I remember finding Jar Jar Binks very annoying, but finding that Qui-Gon Jinn also was annoyed by him. I'm like, all right, so he's annoying in the movie too.
It's a diegetic annoyance.
Yeah, which doesn't make it less annoying. It was still annoying. But
They're not trying to sell me on this guy.
no.
He's annoying.
Like, yeah, we're very advanced storytellers, and we can do this.
Layers.
Yeah, so I liked it. I've always been like, yeah, Phantom Menace was cool. No, it's not as cool as 4, 5, and 6, and but yeah, I was into it. I don't remember any sort of evolution of that opinion on day 3 or after.
Just
you know?
stayed like a B-, C+ forever.
I was like, that was Star Wars. I was into that. That was cool. I really don't remember any level. Was it A? Was it B-? I do not remember now that we're talking about it.
Gee, when did your milk sour? When did your blue milk curdle?
Nice.
I went and saw it several times in the theaters.
Yep.
And I walked out the first time. But I remember when the fanfare happens in the beginning, like the Lucasfilm thing comes up and the bump bump. People got out of their seats and were cheering for this. Mm-hmm. And I remember getting a little choked up even. Mm-hmm. And anyway, so we'd seen it a couple of times, and I came out of the first one being like, yeah, that was cool. That was like, remember the lightsabers? That was cool. And then the more I went, I want to say I saw at least 3 times in the theaters, and I just eventually was just like, oh no, this movie's terrible.
Oh,
I kinda,
early.
I kind of hate this movie. But then it was like, well, it's okay.
It's all right.
You know what? No, it's okay. This is a kid's movie.
Coping.
We're dealing
bargaining, coping.
Yes. All the
stages of grief.
Yeah.
For Phantom Menace.
And anger.
And then finally acceptance.
The dark side.
It's
and
not
then
for
dark side.
me.
Yeah.
Letting the hate flow through you.
Yeah. It was, you know what? This is about a little boy, so it's a little kid's movie. But the next one, that'll be the good one.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that
shit.
in 3 years at their 30th anniversary.
Yeah.
You just got to get through the first 2 to get to the last one, and then it starts getting okay.
Stick with it.
I will say that this trilogy, despite my absolute love for Star Wars before the trilogy, I went, it's not for me anymore. And so I just gave up on I didn't care about Star Wars anymore. Like I still watched like the originals, and
Brian,
it just
flabbergasted.
It left me. It was gone until the sequel started ramping up. But Pink is in the chat.
Yeah, Pink's in the chat. Litigated to death, and the trilogy sucks. A fascinating phenomenon is children at the time, now adults, nostalgia lensing it as something better than it was, supported by corporate AstroTurf efforts. We will get into that because we all agreed to watch it with fresh eyes now again, as opposed to just rely on our multiple viewings over the last 25 years. I'm referring to active effort before the sequel trilogy came out. Hey, the prequels weren't that bad. Pop culture articles coming out everywhere, many of which were traced back to corporate efforts. Dane jumped in the chat. I will say that Duel of the Fates is still the solid score, and Scene Enhancer, JD same.
Yeah.
No, okay, so Dane, I agree. In the lead up, I forgot to mention that there was a series of leaks that happened before the movie came out. The first one was planned. They released Duel of the Fates. It released on MTV, fucking TRL, and there was a music video for it. Which
it's not really a leak.
Well, hang on. No, it was released.
Yeah.
And then the track listing for the soundtrack was leaked.
Gotcha.
Which has a track called Qui-Gon's Noble End or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then so like
which end of him is noble?
But
I was wondering.
But that's how wildly this was in the in pop culture. The fact that there was a TRL music video that was charting every day.
Yeah.
Do you know what TRL
Yes,
is?
I do.
Do you know what TRL is?
Total Request
Live.
Yes.
It was on the MTV.
I wanted to say this since I went viral for talking about MTV reality shows. I remember when MTV had music.
Yeah. But there was it was a music video. It was like half trailer, half like rehearsal footage of them lightsaber duels and stuff.
The rehearsal footage.
It was awesome. And then
so
a
good.
choir singing. It was a legit music video.
That's cool.
And then a work print leaked about 2 or 3 weeks before the movie came out, and people were reviewing it. So
the whole movie?
Yeah, the whole movie.
Oh.
So and then also too the Weird Al song. He wrote
Wow.
He wrote that song
Wait,
before
which Weird Al song was
the episode 1, the American Pie. It's to.
I thought that was later.
No.
Oh no, he did another Star Wars one later, right?
He wrote it and recorded it before the movie came out. He wrote it based on all of the internet rumors and leaks.
Oh, interesting.
He saw the movie early.
This here Anakin guy.
And then changed
Vader,
like 2 lines. Yeah. But there was a work print that was
Saga begins.
And you were able to find the pod race in entirety on the internet. It took about 5 hours to download
and to watch.
But
Yeah.
but
I put a timer on last night.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Is it that long?
15 minutes.
It is. Well, it's 15 because I started late. It's about 17 minutes long.
Oh, Jesus,
It's,
really?
yeah.
From like learning about all of the different pod racers, everyone's introduced and all this stuff.
Oh, okay.
And then the actual
The racing.
and then
Where
the
they may or
end.
may not go past the same stuff. I'm not
I saw it. I saw it 4 times in theaters, twice that day, and then I took like friends to go after that.
Mm-hmm.
I think I knew after the second one that it's not what I wanted.
Yeah.
But I still never full out hated it because even when it came out on VHS, which I still have,
Love it.
in my small town, we had a new 24-hour Walmart.
Oh,
Like
really? At
20
that
minutes
time?
away. Yeah, it
Oh,
was just
wow.
new. In 2000. Yeah. And he banged on my window at like 11:30 on like
Who did?
my one of my best friends.
Oh, okay.
He was like banged on my window because we didn't have cell phones.
Sure, yeah.
Were you in a
During
90s sitcom where the friend entered through your bedroom window?
No, because it
What's
was
his name,
Florida.
Boner?
It was Florida, and they were like the winding.
I gotcha.
You can't get in those windows. But he banged on my window. He was just like, it was the crank windows that just like flap up.
Yeah, I know.
No,
My
I was
parents
saying you
still
had
have
cups
those.
on strings in
Yeah.
order to talk. Yeah.
And
Yell
he was
through the window.
He was like, I'm going at midnight to go pick up VHS of Phantom Menace. You want to come? I was like,
Sweet.
all right,
Obviously.
yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
And we went and we came back home.
Yeah.
And in my bedroom
Watched
watched it again.
Nice.
And then
Nice.
went to school the next day.
Seems
So
like a
like
good
it was
memory.
still
Yeah.
it was still a big deal.
Yeah.
Flaws and all because we all bitched about the movie, but never truly like hated on it.
Yeah, it was still Star Wars.
It was Attack of the
Yeah.
Clones that I lost the luster.
Was it?
Like
Yeah.
Phantom Menace was fine for me. It was Attack of the Clones. It was like, God, I would erase like 70% of that movie.
Well, and with similar to I think the sequel trilogy, although I know we feel differently about that. When when it's only the first movie is out, you've still got the next 2.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
and
there's
you're
Yeah.
like,
there's
right.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this could have. We're only getting going now.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like who knows what could happen, right? And then when it's the second and third one, you're like, we got
Uh-oh.
going. That was where we got gone to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's where
I
we went.
did
this
look
is where
up
we are.
the
Here
Rotten
we are.
Tomato scores last night, and they do get better. They do. Both critic and audience scores got better as the trilogy went on.
That's cool.
For
the
these movies.
prequel. Trilogy.
For the prequel
Yeah,
trilogy, yeah.
I would.
I don't remember the
agree.
exact scores, but I remember like they went up
So
because I was wondering that too. I was wondering if it like dipped down in the second.
Interesting.
what was have you ever had a chance to see this in theaters?
No, or I mean, unless I was 6 and I don't remember.
Get a chance.
Because I-
Make it
yeah.
happen.
Well, there was a re-release 10
Right.
years ago.
was
Yeah,
No.
they did it in 3D like 10 or 15
really?
years.
So
like
it's
for the
coming out
10
No,
next
I
week,
didn't.
right?
Yeah, it's coming
Are
out
you
next
going
week
to
for
go
the-
see it
I
in the
would
theaters?
honestly love to.
It's a little tempting.
I would love to.
Actually, I think I might too.
It
All right,
Yeah.
let's all go.
Okay, so what did you think about this rewatch?
Oh, wait, guys, before,
Okay.
this I think would be a cool time for a little trivia. So there is an airport in Armenia that,
Nailed it.
yes,
Okay, go ahead.
you got it. But let me explain to the people at home.
Oh, sorry, guys.
There's the ship, the robot control, droid control ship that is like kind of a big, most of a circle with a sphere on the inside.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
cool looking ship.
Big donut.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. George Lucas went to this airport in Armenia and thought it looked really cool, and he kind of adapted it into that ship. Like it's that.
So the airport itself
yeah,
looks like
yes,
ship.
it's
That's where he
like
got the design
architecture
from.
of the airport. He was like, that would be a cool ship.
Okay.
And so
That's neat.
where, yeah, if you look it
Did
up,
not
it's
know
like,
that.
yeah, that's what that was
That's
from.
so
Yeah,
fun.
it's cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
Well, hold on. Dane, Pink, Dane, this lightsaber fight and Duel of the Fates is straight fire. Everything else is terrible. And then Costa says, no, this is pod racing.
That's the worst line of the
Oh, I
movie.
thought
Oh,
he was,
that's my favorite.
I thought he was talking about us. I was like, interminable? Are we not? Are you not enjoying this, Costa?
Are you not
What's the
enjoying
question?
this pod racing?
Are you not
Now-
entertained?
Okay, now that we laid it all out,
Yeah.
what was your impressions and thoughts after this rewatch?
Yes.
This fresh rewatch.
I'll tell you what.
I'm scared.
I went into it with fairly high hopes because I remembered enjoying it and maybe enjoying it a little, not thinking it was great, but like later in the fullness.
You notoriously don't really hate much.
I do not.
Yeah.
And I like that.
yeah, it's a nice quality to have.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I went into this with pretty high hopes, but not super high. And I'm watching it and I'm like, all right, here we go. Okay. So, well, we're a little in. It's kind of hard to pay attention to. Oh, I forgot about Jar Jar Binks. He sucks. And now the actor, great, showed up in Mandalorian. He's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh
right?
my God, I
He was
know,
just
right?
doing
What he was
the
told.
stuff that Jar Jar Binks, the character, says "excuse me," and twice says "how rude,"
How wooed.
which was a popular catchphrase at the time from Full House.
Not even at that time.
Well, had
It was
been.
Like
had been.
5 to 7 years before
Right.
that.
Yeah.
And excuse me, similarly, from Wayne's World, very overused by this time, right?
Yeah.
And I was beside myself. Like, why did they write that into here? And his whole species is like kind of annoying. So I even didn't have that to be like, oh, he's just an annoying
terrible.
guy.
Yeah.
Right. And it's so long, and it's like an
take notes?
hour. Oh, I did. And I had a hard time paying attention to this movie
Might as well take
exclusively,
notes.
right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to get this out there, these
my God.
things. And so,
Oh my God, that's a lot of notes. Sorry,
yeah,
I'm like
yeah.
peeking over.
there are a lot of notes. But we've already covered that I forgot about Jar Jar and that he says, excuse me, and how rude.
Next.
Yeah. And so overall, I mean, it was like an hour and some in that I was like, oh, it's an hour in. It still is like this. It's still like really slow. And why doesn't he just take Anakin's mom? She's a slave. Just take her, free her.
Oh, yeah,
Are
a
you
lot of that.
against that?
A lot of that was really weird.
Right. It's like, we have to leave your mom here.
I didn't
Just
come
take
to
her.
free slaves.
There's nobody
I'm
here.
not here for free slaves. Like,
Right. Like, I understand you can't free all the slaves you'd like to, but the guy is not here now. Just take her with you.
Watto is not going to follow you into the
What
stars.
are the
You're a
ramifications?
Jedi Knight.
Yeah.
You could just kill him.
So, I mean,
right? He's a slave owner.
yeah, no, I completely agree. That
Yeah.
was such a weird piece of plot armor, this rewatch.
Right.
But also, it does, if I'm in my headcanon, it does speak to the apathy of the Jedi, which is a big
I thought
problem.
Qui-Gon was supposed to be like, I'm not on the council because I'm cool. You know, like
I
I'm
break
not
the
like
rules.
that.
Not
I don't
cool
think
enough.
the rules.
That's
Yeah,
like,
I'm not apathetic.
you know, I don't know.
No, it's a good point.
Yeah. Thank you.
He wasn't that much of a rock star though, because he's still like, if anything, he was like, I'm trying to think of a good comp, like, you know, the guy, the old white guy who's just like, yeah, progressive.
Right. Like, we shouldn't be this way.
But
Biden?
doesn't really do anything about it. Maybe.
He's Biden.
Sure. Yeah, he's Biden. Yeah. He loves the Dark Brandon memes, is all for
Talks are
progress,
good,
but
talks are
like,
good, but then I'll just leave the slave.
hey, some of these corporate interests aren't all bad.
Yeah.
Like, that's Qui-Gon. Yeah.
That was a weird line in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's weird.
But I found myself thinking also that, like, this
Biden
movie
Jinn.
entirely
Oh my God.
predicated
Biden Jinn.
entirely predicated on this kid becoming Vader, right? If you didn't know that, if this was the first Star Wars movie, there probably wouldn't have been any more, right?
Yeah.
Like, this movie, all of the interest in what is happening, especially with Anakin, but maybe overall, is this kid's going to become Darth Vader, right?
Yeah.
And it's not actually in this movie in any way, right? It's just there, and you have to know. It's very, like meta consciousness kind of thing. So here's the thing that I found out about the guy that does Newt Gunray. I thought, wow, that's a pretty broad caricature. And then I thought to myself, now hang on, what if this is just this guy's voice, right? And he's just a Japanese guy and he talks like this. No, he's a British man.
Almost all of them are British. yeah.
And all of them talk like that.
Yeah, and he got this by a Thai person whom I did not know this was a Thai accent, but I'm not conversant with that in any way. A Thai person read all the lines, and then he mimicked that reading, right? So, like, why didn't they just hire that guy?
Oh my
Who was-
God.
right?
There's a lot of weird voiceover in this movie. Like a lot of improv British actors doing voiceover for characters that were in the scene.
Oh,
and
really?
Yeah, it's a weird like audio hodgepodge.
I did not realize there was any.
Peter
Yeah.
Serafinowicz is Darth Maul.
Yeah, that yeah.
Who is?
Peter Serafinowicz.
He was in Shaun of the Dead. He was the.
Was he the other guy?
the Tick.
No.
He's the Tick.
He's the Tick.
Yeah.
I know the Tick.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew like that was gonna be one that got to him.
yeah.
And then also someone from Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Oh, stop.
Greg Proops. Greg
Proops
is like 5 different aliens in this.
Really? That's cool.
Most notably the announcers for the pod race, both of them.
Oh my God.
Interesting. Who do a little dance that I was not enjoying. But I do like Greg Proops.
Is that
I'm
it?
sorry,
So,
I cut you off. Go
I got other stuff that I will pepper in during our conversation, but that
I don't
was
want to blow my load right just yet. I don't want to
Although I do think this is often held up as an example of why getting explanations is bad, right? The midichlorians, that's bad. I think it's a great example of you should have a good explanation, right? This is a bad explanation. It's, in my opinion, way less cool than the mystical, spiritual bind of things. And they do explain it a little bit better than I remembered.
Yeah.
But this is not like, oh, some things are better as a mystery. This is, you picked a bad explanation for this thing. You did not deepen what was cool about the Force, you know?
I liked this go around with the midichlorians. I actually enjoyed more
let me ask you guys, because I don't remember.
it's just a test.
Do we ever hear the word midichlorian ever again besides in episode 1?
I don't
Probably
know.
in the prequels somewhere again. I
don't think it ever
was
comes
just,
up.
So it's just like hey, I get a sense of this kid. We'll do a cursory test. Oh shit, his midichlorian rate is through the roof. It is just it's like any kind of genetic testing for a condition. It is just a marker for those that are historically and or statistically strong in the Force.
But they do specifically say, he's like, the midichlorians, it's a symbiotic relationship. They live within us, and without them, life would not exist, and we would not be able to sense the Force.
But that's
and then they're like, this guy's got a lot of them.
That's the mystical. That's like the mystical part of it, though, right? So like,
It's not that mystical.
But
Except
to
that
have
all
little
of the universe is spiritual.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Sure.
To me that was George Lucas's really, really ham-fisted, terrible way of trying to marry science fiction with religiosity and or spirituality.
He does
it's
have
this thing that's
pretend
mysterious, but we could at
philosophy,
least say that there's these things there whenever mystery is there.
And then
you know what I mean?
he does that within
it's this weird
within about
mash.
5 to 10 minutes of also being like, also there was no dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just had
knows
a
about
baby.
that?
I just shit a baby.
The midichlorian is that how it works?
Shmee. She's like, I pooped a baby.
No, you
That's-
just
that's
poop
where
babies.
You poop babies. Yeah.
From a butt
Babies
baby.
come from.
A butt baby.
I mean, we don't know what happens with this species' genitals. They're
Vader's
not
a
humans.
Vader's a butt baby, guys.
So, okay.
What did you think, JD?
Wow.
This rewatch. I don't know if
did
you
not
guys want
expect
to tag
this
team
question.
this because you guys get to
No,
watch
I
it
have
together.
my own thoughts I want to.
So, yeah, we watched
this
it.
side
I
is
went
This
in.
is the place for it, Alice.
I went in also.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I have often found within my life, there are times that I enjoy a thing and times I don't enjoy a thing. And sometimes I will go in and watch something and not appreciate it. But then with age and experience, I will go back to that thing and be like, there it is. I now have an entryway into
we
this.
go. Okay.
This is my
I
enjoyment.
know what it's like to be a master now.
yeah.
That kind of thing.
And so in the past 10 years, I have been reading like prequel novels, some of the novels like Master and Apprentice, Dark Plagueis, a lot of like prequel era stories,
Yeah.
which I've grown to really appreciate. And so I was primed to go into this movie, and I still hated it. Every piece of dialogue and every piece of acting hurt me. There's not a single, I think, piece of dialogue that is said with feeling, with presence in the scene, like being in the scene and interacting with another actor and bouncing off of them and feeling the emotions and the vibes and giving it back. There's nothing. It's just I have this line and I'm reading this line, and now it's you do the okay, now you're done. I'll read my next line. And it's just I feel like the whole movie is that way. And I was like, there's no way that the pod race is as long as I remember it. Yeah. It's longer.
Really
I
long.
couldn't believe I'm like, are we still watching that? How is this still a pod race?
Doesn't it have more screen time than Darth Maul?
Yes.
That makes sense.
You left to go get, we ordered Insomnia cookies.
Yeah, we got cookies.
You left to go get the cookies, came back.
pause it?
No, she's like, please don't pause it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I've seen
Let me
this.
know who wins the race.
Yeah. And I
she's-
didn't walk to the store, to be fair. I just went downstairs.
to get
Came
from the
back up.
delivery
Sure.
man.
Yeah.
But still came back and the pod race was still on.
I think the pod race
How does
is-
he win that at the end
Perfectly
where the
structured,
one guy
actually.
is going straight and he goes up and down, covering more distance of the triangle, and yet somehow if he could go faster, why not just go faster in a straight line?
Oh, I mean,
Did that work out?
You cover more ground from a higher
point.
That's just
That's how planes
go
work.
up, right? Oh, because of the
Yeah.
curvature of the planet.
if you ramp. Fuck you. Yeah, no, that does track. That's how something speeding off of like a 45-degree angle up
Yeah.
versus just plane down, being able to like.
But if he could go at that speed.
Well, you probably couldn't sustain that speed for a
Okay.
long period
You
of
could only
time,
do it.
other than
All
like
right.
a boost.
I remember when I watched
Yeah.
it, I was like, does that make sense? I kind of tuned out for a second, and I didn't see how he started to go
That
up.
makes more sense than
Okay.
the venting. Actually, no, the venting sound is fine too. The venting and then using power from one to kickstart the other one to fuel both. Like
He really could have
It all
used did
tracked.
he use the Force during that pod race at all, like instinctually?
his instincts, like
they
they imply that his reflexes.
they easily.
So I pointed this. Chris Dunn's also in the chat.
Yeah.
I'm going to get to you in a second. I also pointed this out to Costa and Alice, where in the very scene when the droidicals show up,
Yes.
and all of a sudden they've got super speed.
I hated
and
that.
we never see super speed again.
I've never noticed
which
that.
wouldn't be a problem if there wasn't a scene later in the very same movie wherein Obi-Wan needs to get somewhere quickly, and he's down a hallway and he's just, but he's got super speed like an hour ago in the movie.
maybe they
I'm
cut a
okay.
scene.
I'm okay with the big jumps, but the super speed, I hate it.
Maybe
Yeah.
Qui-Gon was like,
hated it.
we used our one time of super speed
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
Obi-Wan.
It was our one spell slot.
in Avengers 1, it's just like the planet killer or whatever. Like
Yes.
Tony does like the one big laser thing. Awesome, do that again.
Yeah.
One off.
Yeah.
Like you have to put that in dialogue, so not every time he walks
Right.
into a room
Or in any of the like I have no problem with a new force power being introduced,
No.
especially not in the sequels where it's like, well, fine, we just didn't see it before. But in this one, it's like, okay, fine, you didn't have it in 4, 5, and 6 because you didn't think of it, but you made 2 additional movies even after this and the rest of this one.
To me,
Yeah.
it almost feels like, oh shit, we overpowered them.
Yeah.
So it's less
But it was within
interesting
that
narratively.
movie.
Well, no, that's just it. Like it's less interesting narratively.
Like
so
they
like,
forgot about
forget
it.
it. Don't do it again.
Yeah.
I would have
Jane-
cut that out.
Jane says,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
Jar
yeah.
Jar was the Sith Lord controlling everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got to love those fan theories. Chris says, feelings and fun. The movie was about Trade Federation embargoes and Senate regulations.
I'll get to that.
And all the awesome Jedi powers they only use once, like speed.
Yeah.
Never again.
I forgot
Maury
that
says, what's
Palpatine
up?
was a
What's up,
senator.
Maury?
What's up, Maury?
Hey, Maury.
They're tuckered out from the one force speed. Poor
Yeah.
little fellas.
He used it
I can
again
relate.
when he was on Tatooine
like,
watching over Luke
Have you-
years later,
have you-
and we didn't see that though.
Yeah.
Have
But
you
yeah,
ever tried to run in a cloak? It's exhausting.
I have.
And swimming in the cloaks?
I was yelling.
Exhausting.
I was yelling as they were. They follow Jar Jar into
Yeah.
the Gungan city,
He
and I'm
was.
like, "You're getting into the lake in your full Jedi robes,
Yeah.
He was
and now
yelling.
you're going to swim in them."
Well,
But
they
no,
have
you're
Right
not.
afterwards,
I mean,
which was
they have
theatrically very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they have drying powers, Jedi drying powers.
Yeah, did you miss
There
that?
was so
I thought
many.
it was the-
I just found myself to wrap up my thoughts. I found myself very bouncing from bored to annoyed to Darth Maul. That's cool. Oh,
Yeah.
the Duel of the Fates. Oh God, it gets me in my tingles. And then being more annoyed. So that was kind of my experience. I did not have as pleasant an experience as I was hoping to going in. Like like I was fully prepared to enjoy it.
Go.
And I just couldn't. I wondered if decades later
No,
that
the first sentence.
Oh, old 70s interview. Coppola tried to talk Lucas into making money by shilling force crystals to New Age spiritualists.
Oh my God.
Lucas was appalled and told him to fuck off.
Huh.
I wondered if decades later that motivated turning the force into a physical thing to avoid cult religious stuff.
You know what? That does track with Coppola too. Like if you watch any of the Heart of Darkness stuff, he's just like, yeah, let's go. Whereas
And he
Lucas
sold those
is-
hearts.
Those dark hearts. Now, Noel, what did you think?
Huh.
I feel like this side of the table is going to be kinder
Yeah,
to
I
the
have.
movie overall.
I have. Yeah.
So we could tag team this.
Okay.
Full tower it.
Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah,
The Devil's
we're gonna
Quadrangle.
handcuff this bitch.
Finger
We're gonna
cuffs. Yeah.
finger cuff this bitch. I need to recover from that.
Sorry.
Yeah. It takes a little out of you.
Can I just say I used to be such a prequel hater.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like such a prequel hater. And so my brother, who's also named Brian, I've mentioned before.
Yeah, and he's much older than
keep
I, right?
he does. I
Okay,
just
good.
keep calling him my brother instead of by his name because it
Couldn't
would
be
get
more mistaken.
confusing.
Yeah.
He's also a huge Star Wars fan, and he
I like Star Wars.
Oh my God! What are you my brother?
Are you my brother?
Brian.
Did you also dress up as Darth Maul in 1999?
No, I'm not that as into Darth Maul. He's fine. He's cool. Yeah.
So
Your brother.
My brother
Ryan.
my brother Brian enjoys the
Brother
prequels.
Brian.
And like we would, especially during COVID, we'd be on the phone a lot, or we'd be video chatting with our sister a lot, and we'd be talking about Star Wars, and we'd like get in friendly arguments. I'm like, I'm not like the prequels. I'm not gonna watch them again.
Oh, is this recently?
Yeah, it was very recently.
Okay. All right.
And he's like, I've talked to you about this. My brother is super cool. He enjoys the prequels. He doesn't care if people don't like them.
To be debated.
He likes.
We don't know him.
Yeah. Listen,
saying.
he's super cool. I'm putting that down.
I never met him, but he is named
Do you
Ryan.
know him, Dylan? You're just gonna listen to her?
Super cool. Anyway.
You don't know him. You don't know.
He likes the originals. He doesn't like the sequels, but he doesn't hate on them. He doesn't hate people who like the sequel. Like I enjoy the sequels. But
I enjoy the sequels.
And his thing is like, all right, that's their Star Wars.
Yeah.
This is mine. I'm going to enjoy mine. Whatever. So in 2020, I was actually doing a Darth Vader painting for him for Christmas because I couldn't see him for Christmas because COVID. So I was sending it to him. And I sat down and I watched the prequels because I was like, all right, I'm painting this for Brian. I'm going to watch his movies. And I'm so scared to say this on the internet because I'm a woman having opinion about Star Wars on the internet.
Noel agrees with you. So.
I don't hate them anymore. I don't love them.
Right.
I don't. They're not my favorites. I do enjoy Revenge of the Sith way more than I remembered liking it.
Oh, you did watch? You watched all three during?
Yes.
The painting. Okay.
Yeah. It was a very long painting. It took a very long time.
Are you able to? Have you figured out what it is about it that what made you appreciate them more this most recent time?
I see. That's what I'm trying to figure out because it might be the nostalgia-ing.
Right.
It might just be the nostalgia-ing. When I'm going to rewatch Star Wars, I'm putting on Empire. I'm not going to put on. That's my favorite one. I'm not going to put on the
Good reason to
prequels.
put it on.
Same.
But like I will. I'm probably not going to pick episode 1 or episode 2 to watch either. But I will watch Revenge of the Sith.
I think so.
I would watch the last half of Revenge of the Sith.
I don't think nostalgia lensing is that bad. Perception's reality. If your nostalgia lets you
if you're enjoying
enjoy
it,
something,
you're still enjoying
that's
it.
fine.
No matter the reason.
Yeah.
You know.
So I never outwardly hated it, but I also super agreed with a lot of the constructive criticism about these movies. So I watched it with an open mind. A couple things called out to me. This is the last Star Wars movies that was shot on film. It looks great. Hang on. The scenes, the film looks great.
Yeah.
It does not blend well with the full CGI characters.
Oh man.
But they are
Luckily,
on.
most of them were robots, so it's like
they are on
robot-y.
sets.
Yeah.
It has more of a tactile feel than any other Star Wars movie of the prequels. Because when we get into the third one, it's like CGI lava and CGI platforms. There's like everything is weightless because it's wildly CG everywhere and no sets. This one that's a palace.
Sets,
that's
right?
outside.
Yeah. I noticed that too. I was
like,
oh, that's like an actual courtyard.
It was prettier than I did. It was a filmic beauty that I did not remember because at the time it was novel, or it wasn't novel at the time.
Right.
So like I enjoyed the look of it a lot more.
Nice.
It did throw me off when like you see Watto floating around and he's like maybe a 75% well done CGI character. But overall, the movie's prettier than I remember it. It really is. And I think I have to look it up, but I think they've gone and touched up stuff.
He does seem to do that.
Because I recall.
How did we watch it? Did we stream it or did we?
We watched it on Blu-ray.
Maybe that's why.
I recall
Yeah, sorry.
them using it, when I saw it in the theaters. It was puppet Yoda. It is CGI Yoda now. Like they CGI painted over the puppet.
Oh, interesting.
I have to go back and look at my VHS because there's like production stills too of like more hair, older Jedi puppet Yoda,
and the fact that there are
seat
pictures of it at all.
Yeah, and
Is that
and
the one that's real creepy looking?
Yeah,
that the puppet did not work out.
Well, I remember in theaters seeing. It was the first time we saw Yoda walk full body, and it was CGI. But for the most of the movie, he was seated and a puppet. So like, look up if they changed it because
This one.
Yeah.
Is that how he looked?
That's how it
originally?
looked in film. And they have gone back and see, look, the
Theatrical
bottom right.
VHS,
Oh, how about
DVD,
that?
and then the 3D re-release.
Wow.
So
That's like quite a difference.
they
never
have
seen that.
gone back and touched up this movie in places.
Yeah, you're right.
Huh.
They did not touch it up enough. But
for some of it, I think it's just so. Also, too, you're dealing with a movie that has real life celluloid and digital things. You can only help so much.
Yeah.
If it was all digital, then it would be easier to literally just like cut and paste and pull things around. So like they can only do so much with Jar Jar.
Yeah.
Like in time.
I will say that Jar Jar was more annoying than I remembered it being.
Yeah, me too. I remember him being like, "Oh, he's annoying." This time I was.
I found him delightful as a 6-year-old.
Oh yeah.
And then now I'm like, oh my God.
The other thing that
squeeze me.
I was gonna ask that, Costa. How do you guys feel about at the end of Return of the Jedi? Now the Force Ghost is Hayden Christensen.
I'm fine. I don't care.
I'm cool with it. I like it being the other guy, and it makes sense that it's the other guy because he's older now, right?
Right.
But I also like them having put Hayden Christensen in it. Like I like both of those things. So
I don't think it works for me because he, there's no reason for him to be Hayden Christensen.
Why would he look that young?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially because he made his final decision, right? So wouldn't he was still kind of, I don't want to say good at the end, but like
He was good at the end.
He balanced the Force as was prophesized. They just assumed it would be a good guy to do things.
Yeah.
I thought you meant at the end of Return of the Jedi.
I do.
Oh, you do?
That it should be that older.
So
He was good.
I wouldn't call him good.
It's complicated.
He was a
you would say.
genocidal maniac, but like he made one good
Everybody
decision at
makes
the end.
mistakes.
You know,
one very monumental
good,
decision.
right?
But yeah,
You can-
sure, yeah.
I think it would be nice if we get more good people, right? If you can just become good. You are in this moment you exist, right? So I'm willing to accept his contrition. And now he continues to exist forever, maybe, right? So he's after
Force
life
ghost.
as a Force ghost.
Yeah, it's anyway.
He changed his mind.
I'm okay with it only so much as it narratively threads the two trilogies together, and that's more important holistically than an
Which is
actor
cool, too.
changing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And he maybe could just look like whatever he wants.
That's
the
Force
other
Ghost.
thing that
hot
struck
young
me with this rewatch is how dope George Lucas is in regards to he was like cooking. This is anti-capitalist trade negotiation shit, and it is so cool. Like me now as 42, I enjoyed the blockades of trade routes in order to, and then the manipulations of Palpatine as a senator to convince the trade negotiations to go sour, to get himself into power. Like all that shit was 10 times more interesting to me now
That was
than
that
it
part
was.
was
Oh,
cool.
it's certain. Yeah,
I had forgotten how good his machinations
all of
are.
that,
Yeah.
and just the whole theme of the movie being capitalism fucks everything up, and it allows evil to function in daylight. And I was like, this
Power
is
structures.
George Lucas is like he is a hippie, and I love him.
there are definitely things that I appreciate about the story of the prequels, but as like just a film that I'm going to sit down and watch.
I think that's what I really like is the story of the prequels is I love, and this is something my brother pointed out to me, I love a villain origin story. So I loved getting the background of Anakin, why he became the way he was, how he was manipulated by Palpatine, and like his relationship with Obi-Wan, which is why I also enjoy the Obi-Wan series, which was somewhat controversial. But
I enjoyed that.
I enjoy that.
yeah,
He's not in this movie as much as I remembered.
Ewan McGregor? Yeah, I know, yeah.
And
That hair,
I kind of reject, not completely reject, because the acting in this movie, because Liam Neeson is fucking crushing it. Like he is the only person
true.
that is
He is
showing up.
Yeah.
Because most of his scenes are with a little boy, a 13-year-old girl, and or a recorder.
Yeah.
He gives some of the best dialogue delivery
Yeah.
to no one.
I'll give you that.
In that regard. Like
give you
he
that.
is crushing
He's
this
actually
fucking movie.
my one of my top 3 favorite Jedi. Just I love
yeah, you were
Qui-Gon
saying that,
Jinn.
yeah.
Who else
He
have we
was
got
so
on
good in
that
this
list?
movie.
I'm gonna get shit on this, but I like Rey.
Okay.
So do
I
I.
like Rey a lot.
Did you think any of us would give you shit on that?
No, but the fucking internet will.
They say a lot.
I just said I
Rey.
like
They say
the
all
The
kinds
only
of things.
the only lightsaber I bought was Rey's lightsaber
Yeah.
from the end of Rise.
And who's number 3?
Gosh,
Oh wait, yeah. What's the order?
Also,
Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon's
Qui-Gon's
number one,
Yeah.
Interesting.
and then Rey.
Who, maybe the top. I don't know if I have a third. Oh, Ahsoka, but she's no Jedi.
She's not a Jedi.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
Right.
But I'm gonna count.
That was part of the question.
Yeah, Ahsoka,
All right.
Rey, and Qui-Gon.
you're so soy.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I forgot what else I was saying. The things that I enjoy, the pod race. You guys are talking about how long it is.
Yeah.
I had absolutely no problems with it. And I thought it was better this time around because it's just structured so fucking well. Like, you know how many laps, you know the players, you know
There were.
the problems.
I wasn't even
like,
sure
it
there
was-
were laps. Were they
three
going
laps.
around the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
you
three
saw the
laps.
same thing.
Thought it was, but I wasn't sure.
Yes, it's long, but
Okay.
it's happening in real time. You get the first lap, and then you know the topography, and then you know the shortcut, and the second lap does like it's just structured so well.
The video game was fun.
Was it?
Video game was
At
fun.
the shop I used
Yeah,
to work at,
that's cool.
we had the one that you sit in.
That's cool.
You had a pod racing
yeah,
That
tell me
sounds
game.
about that.
And the kid, Jake Lloyd, I blame the director.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing wrong with the kid. Every time he's doing like a pensive, passive scene, he's great.
Yeah.
But when he has to do like
Woohoo!
the woohoos or I think there's a part where Padme is just like, so you're a slave. I'm a person, lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah. Be like, but it's still bad to be a slave.
bring it down.
I wanted to point that out.
Yeah, bring it down.
We
like, there's
also-
no naturalism in this movie with
No.
those actors.
Right? That's what I'm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Qui-Gon nails
Except for
it.
Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon nails it. Palpatine nails it. Maul nails it.
Yeah, Palpatine's.
Ewan McGregor does fine, but he's like,
I still struggle
he's
with that
never
accent.
anywhere in the movie.
Hello there.
I
Is that
don't.
not new?
I do not. No.
No.
No. He's doing an Alec Guinness
Yeah.
accent, but I don't.
He gets rid of it.
Does not sound like that to me.
He gets
Yeah,
rid of it towards like the second, like the middle
Yeah,
of the
he
second
drops
movie.
it.
You wrote about one thing, Master.
Yeah, I enjoyed it
so
more than
saucy.
Yeah, it's pretty solid.
I thought that I was gonna be just like, oh yeah, it is what it is. It's not for me. I enjoyed it a lot more
Great.
this time around than I
awesome.
thought.
But
Yeah,
I'm not the only one.
yeah, no, you're not the only one.
Oh, that's what we were both kind of like a little uncomfortable still with Padme and Anakin.
I've heard,
but 3-year difference.
Really not
thought it was 5.
far apart in age.
No, 4-year difference.
He's 8,
9,
she's 16.
9. She's
in the actors, yeah, the actors,
oh,
the,
the actors are
actors,
8 and 16.
8 and 16.
the,
when
the
it was
characters are 9
Huh.
and 13.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh.
still.
I mean,
Is it?
She was like, if you got to get down on your knees.
No, don't tell it.
She puts one knee down, right, so she can talk to Anakin, and she's like, if you got to get down on a knee to talk to this kid,
wait,
Well,
hang
but
on.
she's not
they
into
don't-
him now.
They don't see each other for
Later.
another 10 years.
I understand
Yeah,
all of
no,
this.
I get it.
So
I've
if
seen
she
the
was
movies.
around slowly grooming him or something, sure. But they literally have no
Yeah.
contact for like
Love.
10
Just
years,
a little
and he
creepy.
shows up
Love.
As Hayden
a
Christensen.
dude
Yeah.
As a- yeah,
Hayden Christensen.
As 19-year-old
Jedi.
Hayden
Looking enough to be reverted to as a Force ghost.
who frankly has no riz because he
Yeah. Hayden
Christensen?
doesn't talk to girls as a Jedi apprentice
Speaking
at all.
of- speaking
no
of-
riz at all.
The two of them interacting. That was another one of my notes where
Oh God.
she's like,
She does her best.
she's
But she's
like
bad.
puts a blanket on him or
yeah, 'cause
something,
it's
and
cold
he's
in
like, because
space.
it's cold in space, and I'm like, that's space. Is the ship not heated? Like, why did you? Why would he be cold because you're in space?
Well, the metaphor worked.
I don't think it did.
Away from home. Yeah.
I guess, but it maybe wouldn't have been so cold if he had his mom with him, which could have easily happened.
I forgot how small this movie is. It only
yeah.
goes like they're in Naboo for 90% of the movie, and it goes right back to Naboo. Like I was impressed with. I think I had a former memory.
I
Now
don't
you've
know.
forgotten.
I recall it being super convoluted, but it actually really wasn't that convoluted. It was just.
Maybe the machination
it's-
stuff seemed more convoluted when you were a kid.
I
maybe.
thought it was
Yeah.
convoluted as well.
But
I
like
think
it's just
it's
they're-
been out for 20 years.
they're
25
trying
years.
to they're trying to get off Naboo.
Yeah.
And they need a ship part, and the only undocumented planet is Tatooine.
Sure.
That's in.
And nobody will like, yeah,
Like,
it's dangerous,
that's
but
fine.
nobody's looking for us.
Yeah,
I was cool with that.
I like it.
Yeah.
I remembered it being more convoluted than it actually was. It was just it was normal basic movie happenstance.
Did
And
you
I'm like,
guys
okay,
notice-
that's fine. That doesn't offend me anymore.
When they're leaving Tatooine, they are running, and
Not
then
speed running.
Darth Maul shows up. We're like, why are you running? Like, what are you running for? I'm
do
not
like-
certain.
It's been pointed out that I do like Darth Maul just sees a random kid. He has no idea who that
Oh,
kid
yeah,
is.
Costa
He's like,
said
I'm going
that.
to run that fucking kid over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Costa's favorite bit. Is like he doesn't know who this guy is.
That was
He's
my
just gonna
favorite.
run him
That
over.
was well, he feels it, my dudes.
Random-
He
Yeah,
just
he's like,
feels
this kid's
it.
got a lot of Force stuff.
Yeah,
Probably take him
he
out.
feels those middies.
Yeah.
Those minis, baby.
Yeah. Oh, those middies.
He's like middies. Those are my favorite. I forgot how this Star Wars has some of my absolute favorite vehicles in all
the good
Star
ones.
Wars.
Yeah.
The Naboo Starfighter is
Love it.
still
Cool ship.
fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Cool ship.
The Sith Infiltrator, Darth Maul's
Which
ship.
one is? Okay, yeah. That was cool.
Awesome. His speeder is cool as shit. It's like a half a couch. I don't know how that is. It's cool as hell.
There's
so
a
much
cool,
good
like,
stuff.
spherical kind of ship that when it opens, the inside is red. That I think the droids come out of.
Yes,
that was cool.
Yeah, like they're all like on hangers.
Yeah.
I also,
That was
the
cool,
design
too.
of this movie is
cool.
freaking awesome.
I had problems with it the first time. The droids.
Yeah.
The Roger droids.
I love them.
And I'm like, there are toothpicks that you flick and they fall over. But just the idea that it's just there's so many of them and they all have guns.
It's the zombie
blasters,
rule, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
overwhelmed
just
by
crawl. And that was more like to me too. Like the fight with the Gungans at the end. It's just like, oh, we've got shields. You just kind of like
Just walk through.
flew through.
Like, with those
walk
shields.
through.
I guess
Yeah.
they just do energy stuff.
It's just zombie. To me, it was zombie rules. It's just like, hey, one zombie, slow as shit, not gonna get through the door.
Right. That makes sense.
40, 50
But
zombies are pushing the door.
Why
Yeah.
did they operate in such a way that when this ship was destroyed, they stopped?
I thought the
because
same
they
thing.
Have
Because
droids
kids' movie.
Droids just work without a ship in a lot of the rest of the movie. They're the slaves that they have, the droids that they never address even in modern Star Wars.
have feelings and feel pain
exactly.
for some reason. Yeah,
or I guess Mandalorian kind of does a little bit, but they're still pretty chill.
Solo
with it.
tries to,
Yeah.
but it's like,
I didn't see that one.
Oh, the end of Solo is an existential nightmare for me.
Oh,
What happened? Like the fact that someone is trapped in the computer of the
spoilers. Sorry, you haven't
cool.
watched. It's actually I enjoy
I'd be down with
Solo.
that.
Solo.
It's a fun movie.
Solo gets a lot of flack, and I think
like
that
it?
as a fun heist movie.
It's
I'd
better
watch
than
it.
episode 1.
I
happens
gotta rewatch it. We
I
saw it
think
in
you'll-
theaters. Yeah.
I was.
Let's see. Pink says, I saw Phantom Menace 12 times in the theater. There were 2 distinctly different cuts of the film I saw, and the reason I repeatedly saw it was to confirm I wasn't going crazy. Can you detail any of the differences from the cuts? Because I did not know that.
Yeah, me either.
Costa says, always a bigger fish. Costa also says, what about favorite Sith? Go.
I mean, we've only seen like 4.
Well, if you
only be
play
2 at it.
I know Costa's favorite Seth. It's from Darth Revan, right? Costa.
Oh,
Costa.
nice.
From external media.
Game.
Yes.
Oh,
Vigigame.
okay.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
I've heard the name, but that's all I know about.
I don't
that
know. I guess it would be
particular
Vader. I love Vader.
Darth.
Yeah.
And he turns
Yeah.
good at the end.
Yeah. You know.
I mean, he turns less bad.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Mine is Jar Jar
decides.
Binks.
He beats up.
Yeah. Nice. Good answer. Perfect answer.
Just kidding.
Who else
it's
is there?
Anakin.
There's Darth Maul. There's Palpatine. Palpatine's up there.
I mean, Kylo is Kylo.
Kylo?
Yeah.
Kylo a Sith?
He's not a Sith.
He's not a Sith.
He's a Knight of Ren, but he uses
that's right.
Sith.
But you counted Ahsoka. So
Wait,
That's
yes.
true.
Yeah.
Wait, no, I think he is a Sith because his master is fucking.
as
Snoke.
it turns out,
Is it Snoke?
No, it's
Palpatine.
Snoke. Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
Snoke.
basically.
Yeah, he's a Sith.
And he's like
He's a Sith
super
and a
into
Knight of
the
Ren.
Vader time in his grandfather's
He
life.
might be my favorite just because I really love the second
Yeah,
movie a
he
lot.
was-
I like his lightsaber too. With the
It's a cool lightsaber.
I know it's a
The
cool
broadsword of it all.
Yeah, yeah, it looks cool.
Oh, and there's also the
Kylo
guy,
might be my favorite.
with the curved Count Dooku.
Oh,
He was not a
Count
Sith.
Dooku.
He wasn't a
Wait,
Sith.
Yes,
was he a
he
Sith?
was.
Yeah, I thought
He
it was a
was.
Sith.
He was
He
like
was
an
the-
interim Sith.
He's the interim apprentice
Assistant to
between
the Sith.
Maul and
Yeah,
Vader.
you're right. You're right. He is. Yeah. I'm going to go Kylo too.
Do it.
What about
Kylo?
General Grievous?
Oh, General Grievous.
General
Not a
Grievous.
Sith. Not a Sith.
He's not a Sith. What
General
is he?
Kenobi.
What
He's
is
just
he?
a dick.
He spins
Ah,
those
cool.
Not a
lightsabers.
Sith, just
He's
a
my
JD.
favorite
That would be a
dick.
good T-shirt.
He was not
Not
a
a
Sith.
Sith, just a dick.
He was just an android.
yeah.
Nice.
Just a Sith. Or,
Yeah, and you could have the red lightsaber. You'll figure
I
it
know.
out.
I would buy that shirt and
Not a
walk
dick,
around
just
with
a
my
Sith.
red
That'd
lightsaber.
be awesome.
which is first? Not a dick, just a Sith, or just
Yeah.
a Sith, not a dick?
Not a Sith, just a dick.
Not
That's
a
what
Sith.
I
how
want.
Just a
yeah,
dick.
yeah.
I want
I
that.
thought the other way around.
Later.
Yeah.
And then let's see. Oh, Chris says Ray's solid. Third favorite Jedi goes to
Karen Halcyon.
Halcyon from the I Jedi series. So that's got to be legend stuff, right? Anakin lived his life on a 100-degree planet and suddenly found himself on a
Yes.
65-degree ship. The blanket gets a pass. Don't make me defend this turd, Brian.
That's a very solid
Says
point, Pink Apocalypse, which I think is maybe the worst thing that I could say
He's-
to you
yeah.
right now.
He's not-
That you make a good case for this film.
He's not used to regulated temperatures or climate control.
You know what?
Yeah.
You win, Pink. The movie's
movie's
fantastic.
wonderful.
We've come over to
You've
your side.
convinced us all.
Perfect 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Phantom Menace.
You know what? I'm glad you're here to convince me.
Episode number 1 in our hearts, The Phantom Menace.
With the bullet.
Yeah. Now, I was watching and I'm like, why is she doing what Palpatine says? And why is he's like, oh, we would be this, and he's wormed his way in. I'd totally forgotten that he was a senator from Naboo.
He's
Which is
Nabooian.
He's
cool.
been there for a while.
Which is pretty cool.
And it's not that she's important. He's just able to get her to push the domino over for no confidence.
Well, this is how
It's
like
not
he would have done it on whatever planet he was from.
Wherever he would he was just able to manipulate a 13-year-old girl her whole life, because she was royalty.
How is she? But she's also elected. Who would elect? I mean, she is good at her job.
She's
so,
the monarch, but then also
that's how
senator.
Naboo works. Is they have
they elect a monarch.
They young
young
queens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
Keira Knightley doing the good work.
Also.
Yeah, Keira Knightley and Natalie Portman.
She was not famous at all at the time, right?
No.
Okay.
And they get replaced pretty often.
The queens.
She's not queen forever.
Oh, is she not a queen in the later films? Either?
No, she's just a senator.
She's a senator.
And her real name is Padme, right?
Yes.
Padme
And
Amidala.
Amidala is
Her surname.
just like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
That's her real name.
Okay.
We had a fun time being like, which one is
Yeah, we're like,
Keira Knightley
they
and
look
which
so
one
similar
is
with the makeup on.
Keira Knightley.
happening.
Keira Knightley
Yeah.
was the hero, the premier. Like every time it's not her, it's Keira Knightley.
Yeah.
But I did hate what they did with her voice because
Make it all
when
deep
she's-
like this.
Yeah, when she's got like
Hey,
the
why don't we
makeup
go to
on,
the Senate?
they down modulate her voice, which I get it, it's fine. But even
Oh, is
when
that
she
digital?
Yeah.
even when she doesn't have the makeup on, they do it a couple times, and it's like, bitch, stop it.
Yeah, when
puts on
she
her-
like
Yeah.
reveals that.
voice.
We know who you are.
He's like,
Yeah.
good to the hangers. I'm like, you're a 45-year-old smoker. Stop it. But yeah.
Bring him into the ship.
Yeah.
Get them.
you
Oh,
have
so
more
my
notes?
notes
Yeah.
conclude with,
Oh my God.
This is the last of my notes. When the battle with Darth Maul happens, it gets better.
It
Which
does.
is, and
It's
then I
still
didn't
my
have any
favorite.
more notes. I was like,
I
all right.
genuinely enjoy, other than the force running that they don't use. I do genuinely enjoy
that's
that.
when you met. They could have gotten through so fast.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they're like, wait, and also, what are those?
Qui-Gon didn't need to die.
Why do
No.
those exist?
This happens a lot in movies.
Those laser doors. Why
Right.
do they exist? They're
You're like,
they're
we need
just,
to be able to
need a
be able-
reason
they-
for them not to be together, but be able to see each other.
I like when they're like waiting and they're like pacing.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean so like I would
When he meditates,
I would go so
the
far
meditating
as,
was cool.
I would go so far as to say is that that's all character work. Like like you have impatiently pacing versus meditating, and then kind of a mix between the two with
Maul.
Obi-Wan.
Oh, Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
I
because
thought
he
he was
just
gonna
saw
get
his
through the
master
Force
get
field.
killed and then
Yeah.
screamed, freaked out, and
Yeah.
then just like slow breathing started to pace a little bit.
Yeah.
So like it was a mix
Also-
between
Well,
the
why
two.
does it
was
exist
all
in
rage.
universe? Who knows?
Speaking of questions, can anyone explain to me why at the end of Phantom Menace,
Credits.
there's all these names?
Those are the people in the movie.
Sophia
There's like
Coppola is one of them.
scrolling names.
Really?
Yeah.
Credits?
Sometimes
She was
they-
one of the
What are those?
handmaidens.
Oh,
No.
those are
Cool.
those are like best ofs, kind of like a yearbook.
Okay.
Yeah, they're superlatives. It's the
why-
film superlatives.
Why at the end of this movie
Most
does
likely to play Qui-Gon Jinn. Go on.
One derailment per point
why
at the end of this
At the
movie.
end of
why does Obi-Wan Darth Maul has the high ground
Yeah.
and
Crowns us up.
Obi-Wan
Hanging out.
it has the low ground and jumps over him and then wins
He jumps so high.
so high.
And then he has
He
the
has the high air.
Yeah.
But then, in spoiler alert for the last film,
Yeah, the high
Revenge
ground.
of the Sith,
yeah.
Obi-Wan's like, I remember what I did 20 years ago, but Anakin, who has 900 more metachlorians than I do, has the low ground. So
Yeah.
it's like
900.
fucking
9,000?
10,000. But like, is there a reason for that ever given?
Here's the thing. Here's what I'm thinking, just as you say it. He remembers this happening. He was like, I beat that Darth Maul character a few years ago.
I'm going to tell him he's going to not to do it. Yeah, he's
like, you'll
psyching
never
him
win,
out.
Anakin.
I got the high ground.
He's been telling him ever since he was 8,
Yeah.
like, listen.
If you ever
Yeah.
don't have the high ground,
You ever don't. That's how
I
he
mean,
kept him in line
that's
when he
the
was
end of
8.
you.
He's like, I have the high ground.
Yeah.
Listen to me.
Like
You're
an
in timeout.
elephant with a rope tied around its leg.
So I will not give a funny answer to that.
Shit.
It's just I'm not here to make jokes.
we're not here for
Serious.
fun, Noel. I'm here for answers.
The fuck you guys are talking about? So the line of the high ground came from they were literally generals in a war for 5 or 6 years before that. So tactician stuff. This was just he fucking jumped high. Like I wouldn't even think of it as like a. Do I have a tactical advantage here? He's just fucking.
We're in the
hanging
middle
and
of a
jumping high.
fight.
And they don't
Yeah.
even really show it because it's that stupid. Like they don't show him actually. It's just like a cutaway of like,
Yeah.
whip. Like it's just dumb. Like that was actually the worst way to end the fight. I really didn't like that.
No, I hate that. Yeah.
Like even if he just grabbed the lightsaber and did something from underneath and jumped back up,
man.
not a wee.
Yep.
Thunk.
Or like,
But I did
as his
enjoy
lightsaber
the
fell,
flash
just
of
force
red.
it to him.
Oh,
Would
yeah.
have made sense.
What's that?
When his lightsaber fell real near him and he has the ability to telekinetically
Yeah.
control things, he probably should have
Also-
brought it to himself.
Yeah.
I
you
do
know?
hate that entire sequence of events towards the end because he kicked off my favorite lightsaber.
That was your favorite lightsaber?
Yeah, the first Obi-Wan Kenobi lightsaber, the one that you got me for my birthday.
That's
Christmas.
I didn't take note of it.
I
And
should've
I was
brought
even
it.
like, wait, is that Obi-Wan's lightsaber
good
that
thought.
Qui-Gon's become his? But it doesn't, right? He makes another.
No,
blue
he makes
one.
another one.
Yeah.
It's like
Okay.
down in the heart of Naboo refinery, wherever the fuck they were.
Do you see him making a lightsaber in one of them?
No, he just has another. He just has
Okay.
one. Because there's a 10-year jump.
Right.
So-
And you need a lightsaber. You can't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And Alice,
Can I?
Go ahead. Go
no,
ahead.
I
Maybe it's the same thing.
an image that has stuck with me since my childhood from that movie.
Yes.
This is what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
Darth Maul falling, and then it looks like he's one piece, and then he tumbles and he's split in two. Like that terrified me as a kid. I was like,
cool.
what? And like it still like gives me chills when I watch
At
it now
least-
because I'm like, oh my god, I forgot.
At least Baby
I was-
You was never told that he just gets spider legs and crawls through the sewers.
Wait, what?
Oh, you didn't know this?
Now adult you
Well,
was
no,
told
okay,
that.
no.
He's not
I know
dead.
it. No, I know that
Yeah, he's
from
fine.
Solo.
Yeah,
But,
my
okay.
man, for some
Yeah,
reason,
yeah.
hate kept him alive. Sure.
Sure.
When was that revealed? When was that canon?
Clone Wars.
The Clone Wars,
Yeah.
the
Oh, okay.
animated show.
The animated show. Okay, I haven't finished that.
I don't. Is it telekinesis? How does he use?
I don't fucking know.
Yeah, fucking
I
space
assume
magic.
that- I mean, but Vader has mechanical parts and Luke has
Yeah, but
mechanical
he's
hands.
able to craft
Hence the
legs, like mechanical spider legs. Think
Okay.
of Wild Wild West.
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah, like
I'm
that,
thinking
but with
about
like
it.
a Darth Maul on top of it.
Yeah.
Kenneth Branagh's character on
Of
this.
his
Yes.
shit too. Like
I could
he's got
see-
spider legs, but
I
then
could
he's
see
got
that
like a full
happening
half.
in
Isn't
this
there a whole
world.
like subplot with like his brother or some
Yeah,
shit?
yeah.
Yeah,
brother?
yeah.
Pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
The Obi-Wan.
His brother is
Kenobi-
also named Brian,
Really?
much like my brother.
Is he a Darth as well?
The Obi-Wan Kenobi series had some inexcusable issues, but there's a great fan edit that turns it into a really good 2-hour movie. Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Pink.
No.
I want that link.
That was actually
I wanna watch
that was
that.
actually my only really criticism about the movie, that it was 6 episodes and it really should have just been like a 2.5-hour movie.
Yeah, you could have trimmed a lot.
Yeah, I
of
liked
stuff.
Obi-Wan a lot.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked
Obi-Wan.
it a lot, but like you really could have gotten rid of almost all of the Princess Leia subplot, and it would
Yeah.
still be
Yeah, and
really good movie.
as much as I thought that actress was great
Yeah.
and the interaction was awesome, it does complicate things plot wise.
Oh, that doesn't bother me.
General Kenobi, you helped my dad out. Also, we know each other. You know. Now I'm okay with like we changed our minds. That's fine.
Yeah.
But given that you're
But
like,
it just didn't.
yeah, it would have been
it
fine.
just
if she
wasn't great.
there.
Like it wasn't good enough to change canon. I guess it just like
Yeah.
as soon as they had like grown ass adult bounty hunters whimsically chasing an 8-year-old through the woods.
Be like, oh, she went under a tree branch.
Oh, what do
guess
I do?
I guess she got away.
It was such a bad.
Why is your solution to just murder? Earlier you were talking about
was a slave
Qui-Gon
owner.
just murdering people.
Here's the thing: I don't do that kind of thing. But when I'm watching a movie, I do have this dichotomy.
He
in the real
encourages
world, it'd be
others
like
to.
I would never even consider doing that. But I'm watching a show. I'm like, shoot him in the head.
Just
What's the
kill
matter
him.
with you? Your problem would be over.
Why are you? This is
This
Gilmore
10-year-old
Girls.
girl.
So
That's
wait,
what he would do.
how do we feel about the Jedi in general? It's a shitty organization, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
fucking
That's what I
garbage.
love about these movies is
Yeah.
that it really details how sort of not corrupt, but up their own asses that the Jedi
Yeah.
are.
Very up
and
their own
they
ass.
allowed all of this to happen.
Yeah,
You know, just
like they're
Yeah, they were telling an 8-year-old kid, "Don't be afraid." And he's like, "I just got taken away from my mom, and I'm on this
shouldn't I
weird
be afraid?
planet that I don't know anything about."
it seems like you're a little scaredy cat, bitch.
Yeah,
I guess
but
I'm gonna
like
make a Jedi. out of you.
the Jedi are a big problem, a big mistake, and it's a thread line that goes all the way through all 9
It's
movies.
why I like.
what-
I'm going to get so much shit again. It's why I love Luke in The Last Jedi.
Okay, I was going to talk
Did
about
I?
that. I really
I think-
enjoyed The Last Jedi as well.
I think The Last Jedi is my second favorite
Did
Star
not
Wars movie.
care for
so.
that film too much. It was fine. It's not the
Oh.
Luke Skywalker that I was looking for, and also
Same here.
Yeah.
No, I was also
Yeah.
when he throws the thing, I was like,
like what the hell was
what?
that?
And I watched most of the movie being
Yeah.
like, what is happening? But given time, and thought, I was like, this is perfectly in line with his character from the first 3 movies.
But he abandons his training to go help the people when he was told not to do that. Mm-hmm. He helps them.
Yeah.
And now he abandons them.
What people?
His friends and his sister, as it turns out.
It was peacetime at the time.
What?
He just goes and leaves.
No, Yoda's like, well, yeah, but then he's like, I don't want any part of that because
he
did something bad.
He decides to start a new Jedi Order, and
it goes
that
wrong.
goes terribly wrong. And he's like, I'm more of a hazard.
I know. That was kind of my other problem with the films was like, every success was failure, as it turns out.
No, not every success was failure. It's just that we grow old enough to see our mistakes of our youth. So unquestioning fealty to a system that was flawed creates more flaws. That was the point. Not that not that his shit gets erased or that he wasn't
sure.
It was just more like up until then too, every Jedi we saw was had a chance to age that long.
Yeah.
Was true.
Dejected or
that's true.
Hiding out on a planet.
I get the sense that for thousands of years before that didn't happen.
Yeah.
They couldn't have the Jedi Order if every time they got to a certain age they're like, this is rough.
The Jedi has changed multiple times over millennia, and this version of they went from peacekeeping corps to just kind of a diplomatic with some force, and then they went to basically knights,
and then they went to warriors,
and then they went, and then they during this era, they're fucking bureaucrats with enough might to
and I like that idea. There's a book
right?
that I think I mentioned a while ago, Dragonlance, where the gods abandoned the world in the past, partially because the people who were worshiping them were supposed to be good, got too restrictive, right? And they messed up. It's something that I would have liked to have seen in Star Wars. So my feelings about Star Wars philosophy is it's not bad, but you're not quite nailing it, like the Buddhist influence and that kind of thing. And I really would have liked to have seen a balance in the Force. Luke thinks, oh no, my emotions help me with my friends. I will bet. It was their restrictive nature that led to the downfall. Something like that, I think, would have been really different for the sequels to do, and I would have liked to. And they kind of hint at it. Rey's in that place where she's with the dark side and all that stuff.
His eventual training of her is what you're talking about. He does not give her the same rigmarole that Yoda gave her, or that Yoda gave Qui-Gon,
or even that he gave Grogu.
That he gave Grogu,
yeah.
Which I would have expected better from him.
Yeah.
But he basically was giving her a more hippie version of it, where it's all in us, and that whole thing, the whole subplot of her being of nothing important was the whole point of that. That it is.
Yeah,
democratized and everyone has access to, and just some are able.
As long as you got them, them middies, you got them middies.
Those middies.
Some are riding deep with the middies, and they can just access that shit faster.
Yeah.
But no, the point of The Last Jedi, I thought was bold and fantastic, and it made previous choices more weighty for me. And then they just negated all of them. It's cool.
And maybe this will be. So I really like the character of Rey also.
Yeah.
I think it would have been better if the new trinity of characters just had their own trilogy afterwards, and we got to see what happened with the older characters in this one. So I am really looking forward to the next movie that Rey's going to be in.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
And I still hope that they will do this thing. But that happens a lot with stuff that is in universe good philosophy. Sometimes you read it and you're like, it's not that good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a couple more comments and then we're going to wrap it up. Anakin lived. No. Oh, the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Yes. So to answer the question about the movie version of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, is they get rid of Princess Leia.
Yeah.
It was.
You probably do that without losing.
It was just weird plot armor that we got to find a way to get him to this planet. You could do that with 4 other ways. It's fine.
And then she asks, is Brian a D&D/Kryn fan?
I absolutely love Kryn. Kryn is the place that Dragonlance takes place, which I did not find out until years later was one of the early D&D things, and this book series was written to showcase the different. There's like a warrior, a half elf, a wizard, that kind of thing. Each different classes and species and whatever. As it turns out, so I've never played much D&D, but I love that D&D. Kind of thing. Yeah. And Dragonlance, I've read 50 or 60 Dragonlance books in my time. Yeah.
I read that comment and I was going to answer because my brother is named Brian and is a D&D fan. I was going to be like, oh yeah. And then I was like, oh, they're not talking about my brother.
We know your brother is also named Brian.
No, I'm going to talk about it 5 more times.
Hey, Pink, if you like fantasy, Chip Zdarsky has a brand new series.
Ooh, The White Trees and Whisper Queen.
But what's it? It's part of the Black Sand saga. White Trees and the Whisper Queen. Check those out.
Shit.
They're extremely
graphic.
There's like an orgy.
Oh.
All right. We did it, you guys.
2 orgies.
It's time to go watch Attack of the Clones.
I watched it the other day.
Yeah.
No.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it.
Okay.
There's no revisionism, but I do want to. I think I will eventually rewatch Rise of Skywalker soon.
Oh, nice.
Maybe I'll feel better about it.
Maybe.
Probably not.
Happens.
It's
All
just
right,
a poorly made movie.
Email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com. Let us know what you think of the Phantom Menace.
And are you seeing it this weekend in theaters?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is tempting. Just because
And it's May
I just
the 4th.
like theaters. I like going.
Yeah.
And it's May the 4th. Oh, which is also Free Comic Book Day, Saturday.
Oh.
Come
And my
get free
stepdad's
comic
birthday.
books.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Yeah.
guys.
Love you guys, and we'll talk at you later.
Do, 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 do.